Yo.
Hey, welcome to the new meta. Episode 195?
Yeah.
It says season 2, episode 14, but
well, it's probably season 3.
this is like a special. This is like the reunion, the new meta reunion episode.
Yeah.
So what's up, man? It really has been.
It's January, I think.
January was our last episode, so it's been 9 months, roughly 10 months, right? 9 months, something like that.
Wow. Incredible.
So yeah.
What have you been doing? Where are you? What's going on?
We're not even friends anymore. We don't talk at all.
Fluff you died.
I know. Fluff texts me out. I didn't even know like anything that's going on with your personal life. Nothing, man. Fluff texts me out of the blue. He's like, "You want to do a podcast?" I'm like, "Sure, let's do it." That's it. That's literally all the communication we've had in 9 months.
That's not entirely true. I think I texted you before. Wow. I was like,
yeah. No, we talk a little bit, not a lot. Yeah. It's no animosity there. It's just, life happens and we haven't talked a lot. Man? I'm just saying, man, you can't be buddies no more. So no, life's good, man. I'm still working, same job that I've had for I guess a little over 3 years now, which was kind of the death of my streaming career, is when I picked up this new gig. It's going fantastic. I'm happy. Life is good. There's not a whole lot to complain about. New WoW expansion dropped.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Good.
Sure.
I'd love to hear it.
How about you, man? So last I heard, I'm just gonna, you were bacheloring it up, single life. So you got a new living woman now, or what's the deal?
Nope.
Okay.
No. Still.
You're not tied down. Still single.
I just
Okay.
Doing me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, to sort of counter your point of like, oh, job's going great. I am currently unemployed. I actually I was laid off back in late April, and I did what any normal person would do after getting laid off, and I went to climb Mount Everest, and then that took like a couple months. And honestly, I really didn't have. I guess I didn't have a scope of like kind of how bad the tech industry is right now, and so I was like, oh, let's come back and get a job, no problem. So I probably started looking like July, August. No real like pedal to the floor as far as like fear or concern. But it has been wild. I've had so many interviews. So many, like, the worst part too is I would rather just like people reject me like immediately. But it's always like I get to the final round. Like it's been so many times where I'm like 5-6 interviews deep. And one of those interviews is like a take home coding assignment or a peer coding, test and stuff like that. And it's just like, those are just the worst. They're so draining. And
I feel you 100%. It's crazy. The tech industry is crazy. We're both in it, and I've seen, countless. I have buddies, we have acquaintances and it's the same scenario. They're just looking and can't find anything.
Wild.
It's a bad place to be right now, man. COVID blew it up and made all these jobs, and then now the economy's shrinking a little bit and stuff is
Yeah.
They're actually starting the trend that my wife is seeing, because she's in recruitment. She has a really good ear to these things, is that she's saying that trending is pulling away from remote work now. People are wanting employees to come back to the office again. And so that's causing a lot of problems too. So
gross.
Sucks. Yeah, good luck. I hope you find something soon, man.
Yeah, me too.
So in the meantime, so you're a full-time streamer is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll be blasting Vessel of Hatred.
Okay.
Yeah, and honestly, I honestly wish that I had been laid off like yesterday, because this next, and we'll talk about it in this pod, right? This next, I'd say 3 months are huge for ARPG fans, and we'll get into why. But god damn, what a time to be alive.
Well, let's jump into the let's talk video games a little bit. I mean,
before we get too deep, I do want to remind everyone to chat. We are giving away for New Meta Podcast episode 190. What 5?
995.
195. We are giving away an ultimate edition of Diablo 4. Do type exclamation point juice and then exclamation point ticket to the amount of juice you want to sacrifice to get yourself a copy. We'll give that away at the end of this podcast, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, now let's talk about some video games and stuff. Hey, it worked. Look at that.
I don't know. Did we do a poll 9 months ago? What was the poll 9 months ago?
I for some reason I can't pull up Twitter on my computer. Like it says I need an authentication app, so I have to like go through customer service. I can only pull it up on my phone, which I didn't realize until today. But I am going to share this though. It is a straw poll from the olden days of what class.
Just a tip: if you guys run into this authenticator issue, Microsoft Authenticator is free.
Look at that.
It works with Twitter. There you go, boys.
I had no idea. I just said I need an authenticator. I'm like, I don't even remember Twitter ever having that.
No, it's been a thing for a year or so. Yeah. So I guess since January, since we last did the podcast, the Microsoft Authenticator app is free, and definitely use some two-factor. I've had some acquaintances in the last couple of weeks get their Facebook hacked and deleted. Not only did they hack it because they didn't have two-factor on, they hacked it and then deleted it. And then Facebook is like has no customer service. There's no way to get it back. It's just gone.
Oh shit!
It's just fucking gone.
Damn.
So so turn on your 2FA, boys.
Yeah. I mean, oh well, it's just your Facebook account.
I mean, listen, I don't use that shit, so I can't even tell you last time I logged into it.
But yeah, so the poll is: what class are you starting in Vessel of Hatred? Necromancer, Spiritborn, Barbarian, Sorcerer, Rogue, Druid. I want to know.
Only one choice.
I want to know what your choice is.
There's only one choice.
There's only one, because I don't remember you being attached to anything. So I guess you're gonna say Spiritborn.
Yes, like it's the new class. It's gonna be broken OP. It's gotta be.
Right? It is. 100%.
Like I already know. Spoiler alert, it is broken. But if it wasn't, it's a fuck up by Blizzard. Like you have to.
Yeah.
You have to OP the new class, right?
Absolutely. So, and that's why I'm having flashbacks to Diablo 3 because I remember like Necromancer coming out and it was just light years ahead of everything else. And now it's like Spiritborn. And now I'm feeling like Necromancer's the new Witch Doctor. Like weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the shit. Yeah. I don't know. I do feel like they've I don't know. But I don't remember the seasons. It's currently, as of today, season 6 in Diablo 4, right?
Correct. Well, as of today, it's season 5. Tomorrow,
season 5.
When Vessel of Hatred launches,
okay. So season 4 was Loot Reborn. That's the one that I blasted pretty hard.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Okay, so you didn't play Infernal Hordes. You played.
Yeah, they introduced Greater Rifts for the first time. They called it the Pit.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And it was Necros were okay at the start of that. They had broken
There's
mechanics.
No dot cap. Right.
Yeah, they had broken mechanics with the little flasks and all that kind of shit, and it was fun. Barb ended up being more powerful still, and I actually enjoyed the playstyle a little more than Necro. At least
was the
minion build
play?
It was what was it? It was like a bash build, I think.
Interesting.
I think it was seismic slam. I don't remember the skills.
Okay.
But it was it wasn't spin to win. It was just like a bash style. And it was fun. And PvP was actually a good time on the bar.
Really?
Actually, yeah, I have some. If you check my Twitter history way back, I had a screenshot of me with like full stash tabs of ears, like full tabs of ears, because I would just go in the thing and just smash people, and it was a good time, man. So
Bash and Hoda. Macer's Barbane, so I think he would know.
Yeah. Bash. I thought it was Bash. So it was cool. It was a fun time. But so that season I blasted pretty hard. I don't even remember what we were talking about. The classes. So I do think Necro was okay then. But yeah, I think Spiritborn better launch Broken. So.
Yeah, it's definitely doing it. Here's the thing. I don't think it's not broken because like the mechanics are busted. Like it's not like, some proc of a proc is like going bonkers like it drew it on PTR or something crazy. It was like, it's just good. And the great thing about Spiritborn to me is like it came into the game late, so they're able to sort of look at pretty much every unique or aspect or whatever that exists and be like, well, how can we make that usable on the Spiritborn? Whereas like all these items get added and like, a lot of these items are totally useless for certain classes, where I feel like Spiritborn can use everything and they can make a build at everything. So super big brain.
Which is great.
Yeah.
That's what you want, right?
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Spiritborn is just on a whole nother level. We'll talk about that. But yeah, I'm still torn. There are two things. Like I want to start Necro, obviously. It is my boy.
Your butt.
For life. But yeah, there's two really big bugs with Necromancer right now that if they don't get fixed, it's gonna like sort of make the season kind of meh. But one is So the Zon rune is being auto-consumed by a ring of sacrilegious soul, which sucks. That's a bug. So it makes that Zon rune completely unusable for sac ring builds. But 2, your Unmaker doesn't scale with shadow damage over time, and that makes 0 sense whatsoever. So hopefully those things get fixed. But
it's never fun. I can tell you that it's when somebody's playing a class that underperforms another class with equal gear, equal skill, but it's levels behind, it's not a good time. And the person that's playing the crappy character, I'll use the quotes crappy character, they're going to complain, they're going to be upset, and they're going to stop playing. So as cool as that is, I think that Mistborn has to launch in the number 1 slot. If balance is totally screwed, which from what I'm hearing, balance is totally screwed. It's going to be a bad time for everybody that doesn't like the class, and or it's just going to be, Diablo 4 season of Spiritborn. Like you're not going to see another class in the game, right? Which, I don't know. But I hope that if they do some balance tuning quickly in the season, which they might, how do you feel about mid-season balance as well? They've been doing it.
Yeah, they've been reliably doing it mid-season. I think since basically, I think Loot Reborn, so season 4, they've sort of set a pace. I think that's fine. I think if we don't see maybe just like a small 3.03 or 2.03 right before launch, it's kind of sad. Because there are just some like little quick wins for every class that could go in. But yeah, I do think that. So on PTR, did you play the PTR at all or no?
I didn't.
Okay. The PTR, they reworked this whole difficulty system, and it was challenging to get to Pit 100. And the meta builds could really do that quite easily, but it was easy-ish. It still took some grinding. It's easy-ish to sort of pop into Torment 4 on non-meta builds. But what they've done since the PTR is they've sort of altered difficulty one more time so that it's even harder to get into Torment 4. So pit level 100 is now pit level 80. So it's everyone's nerfed across the board, which is good because now it's really, really challenging to get into Torment 4. But if you play a meta build, you'll be able to do it probably pretty successfully. But the problem with that is now if you play a non-meta build, it's going to be really hard to get into Torment 4. Whereas before you could still get into Torment 4, you could farm, you just won't be able to push the top stuff. Whereas now it's you might be gated. So this might actually be the most meta season we probably had since, honestly, this season 5 in Infernal Hordes, because only certain builds could do Torment or tier 7 Infernal Hordes. So yeah, we'll have to see how and we'll talk about that in the difficulty section, but that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna start Spiritborn.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to see how
you are alone because the poll is all green. Spiritborn.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at other votes, honestly. So good for us, team. But yeah,
it's looking just strong. Because it's OP doesn't mean it's fun though. So we'll have to see. If there are some fun builds that emerge and it's a good time, then cool.
A lot of build guides out already, but there's a lot of different ways to play it. So not everything is discovered for sure. Do you know what Ultimate you're sort of interested in? Do you know much about Spiritborn?
No, not a lot.
Okay.
Just what I've. So, and just to give history on the reason, and I did this with WoW too. So I don't know if you have a section for me to talk about WoW. So I'll just throw it in every now and then.
Yeah.
The new WoW expansion dropped maybe a month ago. I think it's been around 4 weeks. And I didn't play it. I got invited to PTR. I could have all the access, but it's more fun to experience it, I feel from scratch. And it's cool that I'm glad that you got invited. I'm not a content creator anymore. So I don't have to do it. Right. I think that's the difference. If you're a content creator and you don't do it, then you're just setting yourself up for failure. But I want to enjoy it day one and experience and learn the new things and not go read a million guides on what's the best and how to blast through it in one day.
Right.
I hope it's fun. But no, I've only seen what Blizzard's shown in trailers. I've obviously watched all the camp fireside chats and all the trailers and all the things. So I know the basics.
Yeah.
But,
you still have your finger to the pulse. You're just not.
Yeah. I didn't play PTR purposely. And then and then the WoW expansion dropped at the same time PTR dropped as well. So it's all right, I'm gonna play the WoW. I'm a WoW nerd.
Yep.
So I played that. But no, so I don't know a crazy amount. I'm excited for it, which is great because I feel
I
was also afraid I was going to play PTR and be like, this sucks.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to want to play it, right? So, so I'm curious to get your opinions. I know there's going to be some spoilers for me in this pod, but that's okay. I'm cool with that. So let's talk about Spiritborn.
Yeah,
like tell me what your thoughts are. What do you think?
Spiritborn is insane. Like it is so good. Honestly, like just really cool. Like the ultimates are all like super impactful. I wouldn't say like the ultimates are like, I mean, during the campaign they pretty much like one shot everything, but they're all cool. Like you have a centipede, the hunter, the eagle, and the gorilla, and you're like all your skills are sort of in one of those 4 spirit halls is what they're calling them, and you can sort of min max and mix and match those spirit halls, and they all have like really cool combos. So it's you could be like I'm full centipede or I'm full gorilla, or you could be like I'm kind of gorilla jaguar centipede. Like it's really kind of cool how they designed it. Obviously we knew this was going to be designed well because you know our boy Leviathan is on it, but it is a really fun class. I don't think that you'll be disappointed whatsoever, especially going to it fresh. Like that's going to be really, really fun, honestly.
Is there any cooldown like Lost Ark style play to it at all?
Very.
Or is it still feel Diablo 3?
So I think I guess if any class that feels Lost Ark-ish, it would be the Spiritborn. But it is still D3 cooldowns. But there are there's this chess piece that you can get, you know, starting in Torment 1 that's called the Jackaneth, and then that's just like you just won the game, basically. It's wildly good. You
got your 6th link right out of the gate.
Yeah, really, honestly. It is just like that. So I think you're gonna have a blast, honestly. It is a lot of fun. And there's just so much mobility. Like obviously high mobility classes just feel it's like when Demon Hunter came to World of Warcraft. Like it honestly, then it felt like I was playing a whole new game.
Yep. Yeah. Mobility is always fun. It's always good. And it's always a skill gap as well, usually. Mm-hmm. So
very clicky though. You know, some people don't love like super clicky stuff.
Hey, I don't know about you, man. My old fingers. I tried playing Melee in the new WoW expansion. And man,
is that very clicky?
My old fingers were like, dude, take a break, stop playing, you know? So it's crazy how much I used to play versus how much I think I can play now before I'm like, my hands get fatigued. So I don't know if you've run into any of that.
Oh, well, I mean, I had that cubital tunnel thing for a really long time. That was brutal.
Is that healed up now?
That's pretty much gone, yeah. Thank God.
That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just exercise and surgery, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing. The uniques for it are really cool. I honestly like I said before, you know, there's a lot of, I feel like when you're playing the other classes, you're like, you're picking your skills, right? And there's obviously like a way better choice. Like, oh, well, you would never go this one if you went this one. Like, cause this one's just always, always better. Well, I feel like everything on the Spiritborn has a use case. Like everything has like, maybe there's some big brain, like unique item combination with that particular rune. It doesn't feel like anything is like, oh, we just put this here because we need to fill up a skill twig. You know what I mean? Like it all has purpose. So it's very well designed, honestly.
Awesome.
10 out of 10 as far as class design. And D4, right? Like obviously D4 combat could be improved, but I think as far as the limitations of Diablo 4, this is a good class.
Are they doing any reworks to other classes, major reworks? Or is most of the focus put in Spiritborn, you feel?
I think I think most of the focus is what's on Spiritborn. I will also say that like during the pre-release that basically anytime I said there was like, hey, there's a bug with Spiritborn, or like, hey, I don't know about this on Spiritborn, there's like there was feedback like immediately. But anytime I'd be like, hey, you know, this is on Necro, like this should probably get looked at, or this should, you know, it's like crickets. Like it was just nobody. Like so I mean I get it. Like this is their new hotness, and like it probably should be their concern because everyone's gonna play this tomorrow. But yeah, it kind of feels bad sometimes, but I get it. I'm not harping on it. I think honestly too though, like just being in that position to begin with, to be like, hey, you know, I like this, I don't like this, is a privilege anyway. So I'm not gonna like sit here and be like, those fuckers aren't gonna fix Necro.
They don't listen to me.
Right. So it's cool to even have the opportunity, but yeah, obviously very Spiritborn focus right now. But every class did get, I'm sure you saw, is that my next point? I don't even know if I put it in here actually. Every class did get like a new, at least new unique and a new skill. I don't know if you had time look at those.
That's cool. I haven't seen it.
Skills.
And just for awareness, this podcast is the day before launch.
Yes.
So this is launching
6 p.m.
watching this
tomorrow,
on the VOD, or if you're live, it's tomorrow.
I'll have this posted, so people will be able to listen to this when the season or the Vessel Hatred goes live. It's not going to be like a week delay or anything crazy. I'll post this tonight. So
it better not be. You don't have a job.
I know, right? I got all the time in the world. People complain like, oh, it always takes so long. It's like, man, I had a job. I was like streaming full time. Like, man,
we talked about in the pre-show where Fluff and I, we joined the call and we haven't really done it in 9 months. And I'm like, what's up? Like, I don't even remember what to click, dude.
Yeah,
it's like, he's like, me too. I'm like, I don't remember what we have to do to get set up. It's funny. So funny how fast it goes away.
Yep. But yeah, so Barb gets Mighty Throw. Remember that from D3. It looks very different, I will say. So it's not like it was copy pasted in D3 like a lot of other things. I seem to be performing very well. I think Maester can attest to that. I think maybe might be the strongest build going into the next season for the Barbarian. It seems very, very strong. I will say this. So I've always given feedback that channeling skills in Diablo 4 suck. Like you just hold down the button. It's like Diablo 3. They're not fun, right? Something needs to happen. Either like there needs to be like, remember in Lost Ark, you would like hold down a skill and maybe there's that bar that goes back and forth and you have to release it like right in the middle.
Yeah.
Or like there's stages, And so the Druid is getting a stone burst skill. It's kind of like that. It's like you can release it early, you can spam it if you want, and it has functionality still, but if you hold it down to like stage 3, it really does, the maximum stuff. And there's no real point in holding it down further. So that's great. I like to see that as far as channeling skills are concerned. Every class is getting, I think, like at least 5 or 6 new small passives that are pretty impactful, because I think every class gets like 10 to 12 more skill points. I don't know that number actually off the top of my head. This one might actually look really familiar as a Diablo 3 player, but so Rogue's basically getting, remember their spin to win? Was it God?
Yeah.
The God set?
Yeah. God DH. Yeah, strafe.
It's basically coming back, it looks like.
Okay. I've heard it's pretty good too.
Yeah, I think it was performing pretty well. I think the animation looks super weird, like when people get really high. I saw Wudijo play this a bit, and he was like flying, and it didn't look like his character was like taking enough steps. Like it just felt kind of weird.
Yeah,
to look
gliding
at.
Across the screen.
Like
Sorcerer. PoE days.
Yeah, Sorcerer gets like a familiar. I just could not. So I tried to sit down in this season 5, and play all the classes. I played Barb for the first time, really since pre-launch.
I saw that. I saw you playing with it.
I really enjoyed the bleed stuff. And I tried the sort of Sorcerer. I just like cannot get into it. I just am not like an elemental caster kind of guy. But yeah, they get a familiar. I hope it's good. I feel like Sorcerer for me is like the new Witch Doctor in Diablo 4. I just like don't even want to touch it. And then Necros get this new ultimate called Soul Rift. I've obviously done extensive testing on the Necro. It's a super strong ability. It's very good. That paired with the new Unmaker helmet, it's great. I wish they'd fix the shadow damage over time bug, but it is strong. I think it's weird for Necro to get a new ultimate because...
How is it working? It looks like, is that what's on the screen there? It looks like it's
it like
a circle up and he's...
Exactly. It spawns a circle and it like absorbs the souls basically of the enemies around you. So it does like a shadow damage over time piece, and it gives you shielding and it gives you essence. It's very, very strong. Like it's super duper strong, and it makes everything vulnerable too.
Looks good too.
Yeah, it looks cool as well. But it's also like, I know some people hate me for saying this. Like Macro doesn't agree with this point. I know, but it is basically Bone Storm with the shadow aspect on it. It just does more things for you. So I didn't feel like this really had a place in the game. I'm not mad about it, but I think that Necro could have benefited more from like other corpse skills, because we still only have corpse explosion. So I think like corpse lance would have been great. I think like maybe more defensive things that's not blood mist, like maybe bone armor. Even like what's that ability called that was in D3? Devour. Like Devour would have been huge. So anyways, but it is strong. It is, and Unmaker helmet's really, really cool. So there's that. But yeah, everybody gets new stuff. That's good.
Cool. New stuff is good. New stuff is fun.
I don't have any footage for this because that's still embargoed, but the campaign obviously has come out. I'm not going to say there's going to be no spoilers in chat. I'm technically not legally able to give you spoilers, but I'm not a big story guy. It was fine. I think that the CGI scenes, phenomenal. You're gonna love that.
Their FMVs are the best, dude. Like top in the game.
Even did you see their live action trailer? I thought that was really good too.
I saw a bit of it, but I didn't get to. It was a commercial that I saw like on ESPN or some shit. Oh. It was weird. It was like a weird. Like I saw it on TV. I don't remember what channel I was watching, but I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I was impressed by that. I'm a big fan of live action. Really, anything. I've even watched like the live action World of Warcraft movie, even though it was awful. But.
I'm like the only person in the world that liked it, which is funny.
Right.
Even other WoW nerds hate the WoW movie, and I'm like, it was okay, man. Like I didn't hate it. So listen, give me some support out there if you like the WoW movie.
I also think that the campaign, like, it did something we've talked. I'm not gonna spoil anything. It did something that we kind of like talked about, which was good. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
But yeah, it's okay. I mean, I didn't walk away from it being that was stupid.
I personally felt like D4's campaign story was subpar, like the original. So we'll be interested to see, how good the campaign is and the expansion. But that's just me. I don't really, to be honest, I could care less if the campaign's good or not. Obviously, I want it to be good, but I'm only playing it once, right? I'm not playing it a second time unless I'm forced to. And I care more about endgame, so devote those resources to endgame. But I am excited to see how the story continues.
Right.
On the scale of priorities, it's way at the bottom.
I agree. Like obviously, you're talking to Mr. Lore. I mean, I think any time wasted in the story is a waste. But yeah, I mean, if we're talking about the campaign from the original, it's like, what do any of us remember? Okay, well, Lilith killing Anarius, like that was the only part where you're like, oh shit. The rest of it is just like, oh my god, let's get through this. It's so boring.
Skip. Press escape to skip.
Literally.
So no, I do. I typically do enjoy. It depends on the game I'm playing, to be honest. About the campaign, like WoW's new expansion campaign. Everybody's like, oh, it's so good. Like it's okay. Like it, I didn't think it was any better than any other ones. All the other I'm raiding in WoW, right? And so as I'm raiding in WoW. People are having like we did the raid, we cleared the raid day one, and it was cool. But the guild I'm in is full of some lore nerds. They're super good players. Like I am
it still the same guys that we hung out with.
No, different guys.
Different guys.
Different. That was my classic team. This is
got it.
So these guys, I'm new to their team. I'm by far one of the worst on the team. These guys are all like super mega chads, and but they start talking lore sometimes, and I'm just like, I mute myself. I'm just like, I can't, I'm picking on them a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's just like nobody fucking cares,
right?
Man. Like
I love like when people are like, listen to like Nine Ball, like talk about lore. Like I love to hear people be really passionate about what they're passionate about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd actually be really curious what he thought of the story. I think the best part of being able to play through the campaign on the pre-release is that I get to skip cutscenes tomorrow, which is great. I can't wait for that.
You get some advantage.
Yeah. Well, it's not just an advantage. I mean, there's no advantage because there's no leaderboard. Did you hear they're actually removing the leaderboard tomorrow? Forever.
Are they?
Like forever. Yeah.
Are they going to leave my name on there forever? Because your boy blasted season 4, right? So.
Yeah,
no. Are they getting? So they're getting rid of that mechanic altogether.
Yep. It's all gone tomorrow.
Yeah, it's that leave bad. My name up there. So
it's that bad. I mean, I guess if there's no way to access it, it gone.
It's gone.
It gone.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So. But yeah, what was I even saying before that? Oh yeah, so campaign. Yeah, I get to skip tomorrow. So it's not but it's not an advantage. It's not like D3 leaderboards are out or something, and I get this like crazy. It's just like, oh, I can get to the end game faster.
So, let's jump to this Dark Citadel thing. This is is the raid, right?
Yes, actually.
Did you get to do it?
This was the only thing, as you were touching on at the start of the stream, like you wanted to avoid some things, right? This was my one thing I wanted to like save, because I think that this will be the most fun thing to watch a streamer do when they first do it, because I think this will actually be challenging content with like actual mechanics. It looks to be good. I've heard really positive things from it.
So you mean save? So you think this is going to be so WoW does the Mythic World First races, and they make the raid so ridiculously hard that these teams are like flown into the same location, playing in the same room, 3 weeks straight, 24/7, nothing but raiding.
Yeah.
Right. I don't expect that from D4, although it could be cool as hell. But if they do a raid thing and there's teams actually competing for world first or trying to learn mechanics, I think that could be cool as hell.
I agree.
So
obviously any race, any sort of competition, I'm all in. So I love that shit in these kind of games, especially, Path of Exile, I think does it really well.
Yeah.
And D4 has not touched it at all, unfortunately. But D3, I mean, shit. That was what kept me going. First of all, it was the leaderboards alone. Even though I was doing the same shit and no changes season after season. Leaderboards so fun.
Yeah, I had fun. I think D4 has massively failed to recapture the season launch hype from D3.
Plus, we're still launching on a fucking Tuesday. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what is this? No, we're launching on a Monday.
Yeah, Monday, technically, this time.
What? This is garbage, but whatever, man.
Yeah.
At least they didn't do like a pre-order bonus like the WoW thing.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna talk on that too, because that was complete trash.
I'm curious, yeah.
So I don't that's and in all honesty, man, D3 season launch weekend on Friday night was the most fun gaming I would have for 3 months.
100%.
Every 3 months they would do it. And it was even it's not really a race, but it was a race. Like you and I would get in and we'd blast and we'd try to get what Paragon could we get to at the end of the first night, right? And it's like you raced other people, you raced other teams, you could race your own community, and it was a good time. But it wasn't super crazy, uber competitive that nobody else could compete except for the streamers, right? Other normal, just game enjoyers could get in and like blast, and it's like, oh man, I'm keeping up with these guys, or oh, I'm ahead of these guys. So it was cool, man. And D4 has failed massively at capturing that. They've also failed, in my opinion, in the multiplayer aspect. And this could be controversial to some who like SSF and like playing by themselves, like you, versus somebody like me who enjoys the group play. I think D3 incentivized playing with your buddies a lot more, and it captured, even if I was overpowered or overgeared, I could still play with buddies and have a good time, and it didn't detriment my progress that bad. D4 does not feel like that. No. If somebody's not pulling their own weight as equal or better than me, I don't want them in my party, period. Yeah. Get out. Bye.
Yeah.
So.
And there's not, like, the only incentive to push people into grouping, I feel like in D4 currently, is the efficiency of splitting your mats for Uber bosses. Like, that's it.
Yep.
So,
and that's,
And that's not really anything crazy. It's not like, rat runs where it's just like I'm getting like 3-4 times the experience in a rat run versus, trying to solo that shit on my own and doing speed rifts. But
yeah, rat runs made sense. It's right? Because when you get the composition working, you're up 10, 20 tier levels or riff levels, and you're blasting. You can't do that by yourself. You can't generate the resource. You can't. It's just, there was so much group synergy, and something that I think was accidental. I don't think we've had this conversation where rats were just a mistake. And it's like it was this perfect mistake that made the game so absolutely awesome. I wish D4 would capture that. I wish that they would somehow, I don't know how they could incentivize group play more, but I have buds that play and I want to play with them. But if they're not pulling their own weight, then I'm instantly like, okay, I'm going solo, boys, bye.
Yeah. And to me, there's honestly like an aspect of DL4 where like I mean, obviously have never been a huge fan of grouping. I think it was super, like blasting those season starts like with you and the boys, like those were super fun.
Yeah,
and
so fun.
Like you just needed to do that to be competitive on the leaderboard. So that was my incentive to do it. But now that there's no competitive aspect of DL4, so my incentive to just group is like, it's to me, it's 100% limited to Uber bosses and being efficient and getting more loot. Like, I don't really want to group outside of that. I think it's annoying too because I'm a necro and my mobility just sucks versus everybody else. So I'm the guy that's like following, and I should be the guy plowing before everybody. And I'm just the guy like following because I just can't keep up.
And not only that, but they, like when you're doing the Uber bosses, you know what the Uber bosses felt like, at least in season 4 when I was playing it? we were sharing mats and doing all that stuff. It felt like you were doing Uber bosses in D3. Remember when you would go farm your keys? Because we're literally farming keys. We're putting them in. We're teleporting out of the dungeon, which is the incentive of starting a new game, right? Porting out, then we're porting back. Somebody's, waiting for people to do loot because my inventory's full and people forgot it's like every 2 and clear, every 3 and clear, whatever we do. Like, somebody fucked it up, so now we're all waiting. And it's a horrible experience, man. Whereas blasting Greater Rifts with rats, like, they put the pit in, and I don't know the mechanic for this season. I didn't play this season, so I don't know if it's better than the pit or worse than the pit or whatever. But when they put the pit in, I actually liked it quite a bit, and it kind of made me sad to admit because it's Greater Rifts. It was a version of Greater Rifts. It's kind
slightly
of inferior.
Worse. Yeah, I agree.
It's a slightly inferior version of Greater Rifts is how I felt, right? But
Greater Rifts
it was
limited
Greater
to
Rifts.
2 floors.
Yeah, and the weird porting if you died and just, I mean, it was buggy.
Checkpoints are fucked. Yeah,
it was super fucked. But it was fun though. It was fun. And like we did those with friends. I have, but like I was at the peak, which I don't even know what people ended up doing in the season. I think I had both of my characters doing 110s, which at the time when I was doing them, that was good.
That's good.
This was like week 3 of the season, or week, so it was pretty good. And so we're doing the 110s, and I grabbed some buddies that were doing, could maybe do 80s, and like I'll carry you in some 90s, or I'll carry you in some 100s. But then the boss's HP scaling was just crazy when you put some other people in the party. And again, it was like as soon as I did it, it was a thing where I'm handicapping myself to help them. There's no benefit for me to this. No. I don't get to save a key. I don't get extra loot.
Nope.
It takes longer because the enemy's scaled wonky, right? It's just like, so what did I end up doing? I get in Discord with friends and we'd all just do our own independently. And it just feels bad. It feels bad to be talking.
We're all playing the same game. Yay.
Yeah, but it's like we don't group up. So I don't know if they've addressed that. I hope the raid might be a thing that we can all go into and do together and have a good time. I'm okay for having it be challenging, but I don't want it to be so challenging that it limits specific classes. Like if it makes metas where we're only taking Spiritborn, or we're only taking Spiritborn and Barb because those 2 classes pump.
I mean, I can definitely say it's nothing like that. It's group content that's like you have to have at least 2 players. You absolutely, like, there's no way you can't even enter without 2 players.
Oh, so you could do it with 2 people?
Yeah. 2 to 4, but we have to be good, like 2 good people.
So, okay. I was expecting it to be even bigger scale. So.
No, it's only 4. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool though. It is cool that at least it is cool you can do it with 2 people because that'll make group finding a lot easier.
Absolutely,
I guess.
Yeah. And if people drop out, like it's still possible. It just goes up, and I think that's kind of cool too because like you can give yourself that sort of extra challenge. Like, well, we are going to do it with 2 people. I don't want to do it with 4 people. Like you can make it kind of harder on yourself. And I do think there will be some. I think that would probably be the most maybe competitive aspect of season 6 will be like who's going to get into Torment for Dark Citadel and beat it first. I think that would be the only competitive probably aspect of season 6. But who's following and even though that's a thing, I don't know. Probably just the streamers. But
and it's just like who's had access to it, right? If they've already opened it up to people, then it's like okay. Well, and I'm going to use you as an example. You've been playing, you've been blasting, right? So it's like if you and I go do it, and you're sitting there telling me, okay, you got to do this mechanic, and this is how this works. It's not fair.
No,
you know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
It's shitty.
That was actually the number one thing that some of us asked, right? We were like, hey, if you want to play the pre-release, apply here or whatever. And so like media was like, well, if there's going to be a race, like I don't want it because like you were disqualified if you got to do it. But no, so there's no official race. So I was like, all right, cool, sign me up. But yeah, the Dark Citadel is cool, and I will say, like, I didn't do any of it. I haven't watched any gameplay. I want to go into this like totally fresh and exciting because I think that us getting owned will be like fun to watch. The first runs, I've heard that it is super fun. I haven't heard anyone that's done it say that they didn't enjoy it. This is where you get the temper reset. So. I know that was a big pain point for a lot of people in the past couple seasons. You couldn't reset tempers on like a perfectly 3G8 item.
That's me raising my hand.
Yep.
That's actually what kind of pushed me out of the gate
really?
At the end of the season that I was playing. Is I had bricked 2 God rolled 2-hand weapons that were like massive upgrades over what I had, and I bricked both of them trying to temper it. And after the second one, I was just like, it was a really feels bad moment. I get it. Let's talk about that because we never got to. We never did a pod with it, right? Historically, I've been in favor of being able to brick items.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, after bricking 2 God rolled 2-hand weapons, I was pretty pissed. I was like, this sucks. And there's no grind that I could do to fix them. There was like, okay, let me go grind for 10 hours to fix this weapon or whatever, 40 hours. But it was gone, and it sucks. So what are your thoughts?
I think in a game like, I have 2 stamps. Okay, so in season 6, obviously ancestrals are becoming way more rare. So if it was like it is now, and they were still in a way to reset tempers, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, because you'd be playing like probably 40 more hours before you saw something even decent to temper again. I do think in the current like season 4, season 5, like items are just out of control, like dropping left and right. So it didn't bother me too much that you could break items. I think that was probably the only incentive to keep playing, was to find better GAs, better tempers, tempering 4 or 5% more on your, double hit proc chance on your weapon or something like that. I think that was the only incentive to keep playing. So I didn't mind it. But I understand that like, most of the people that play Diablo 4, they're sort of in that like, I don't have that much time to play crowd. And so like really fucking sucks for them to not be able to reset a triple GI item. So I like it.
Yeah, and even when I was playing, the stuff was dropping like candy. But to get a 2-hander with triple greater affixed, the stats you wanted, I got 2, and I was blasting hard that season. I mean, it wasn't casual, that's for sure. And it's like after I bricked the second one, I'm like, well, do I care enough now to keep grinding for the third? Like I've done everything. Right. It's going to let me push up a couple more tiers in the pit, right? I don't care really, right. So that was kind of it. I think it was probably a lack of end game too. I think if there was more end game to do, that it would incentivize me more to try to get the weapon as well.
Okay. But there's a weekly reward associated with the Dark Citadel as well, and that is quite good. I think people were saying on average it was dropping like 5 or 6 ancestrals, which is, that's rare in season 6. So
is it a repeatable event, or does it have a weekly?
Yeah, weekly. So the event you can grind, and you can get more coins, and the coins is what you spend on those scrolls that let you reset the tempers. Okay. And there's also cosmetic rewards that you can use those coins on. And I think that's it. Or you can buy potions that you can only use inside of the dungeon thing with the coins. So you can repeat it, but only once a week will you
get the weekly's locked out, just like the world bosses have a lockout too.
Yeah. So just like that. But yeah, excited to try it out. I think it'll be, hopefully you and I can maybe even get one of those. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how hard I blast it.
And then another thing that's coming is probably one of the better things coming in Vessel of Hatred is the Undercity.
Okay.
So the Undercity is I wouldn't even know what to compare. It's not really like anything in D3. It's kind of like a time trial where you go around and you kill certain enemies will give you extended duration on this timer. And then there's like pillars that you can touch, and then the pillars will spit out dudes, and killing those guys will give you like a juice, like a juice that you could, if you fill up a certain juice, here you go, right? This image shows it. So like the more juice you get from kills and stuff will increase this like favor to up to level 4. And this favor determines how good your rewards are at the end. But you also have to keep your time going by killing enemies.
Yeah, so it's like a collapsible rift. Yeah, that you have to keep the timer up. Okay,
gotcha. And the best part about this is you can sort of control your rewards by putting in what are called tributes. So you can be like, oh, I just want to grind XP. I really need more runes, or I haven't seen any ancestrals. I really want to do ancestrals, or I really need more uniques for my class. But the better part of the tributes is that you can buff those. I don't remember what this buff is called, and I don't think it's in this post. But basically, after you select a tribute, you can select a bargain. And so the bargain will let you sort of tailor that reward even more. So something like this showed, and like the demo of this was like, okay, tribute ancestral legendaries, but give me amulets that always have a one passive affix on it.
Okay.
But the cost was 50 million gold. Like, and it was funny too, because in their
just that one run, for the one run,
dude, this guy really wants an amulet with passive affix, which is good, right? Amulets with passive rank affixes.
Don't
that's
DC on that run,
right? But in the demo they showed it, like he got to the chest at the end with 4 ranks, and it dropped a non-ancestral amulet that he spent 50 million gold on. So I mean, we'll have to see if this is really good. I think it's a cool idea either way. This was broken actually in the pre-release, so I got to play it and like feel how it feels, but the rewards were bugged, so like I couldn't actually pick. Like
gold scaling matters too, right?
Yeah.
So 50 million, depending on when you're playing Diablo 4, could be a lot or
50 million is still a lot. Like,
is it still
one like high level horde run? I don't think it's on. 50 million gold isn't dropping like flies, so it's not some small thing. We'll have to see, obviously, but
yeah, we'll see the gold economy how that plays out.
But yeah, cool. I think it was a decent addition, especially if it like functions well. I like.
It seemed like it had some aspects of mapping from PoE to it, right? A little bit, like you're putting in what you want, you're building it, you're tailoring it.
Yeah, I do.
Collapsible rifts.
I do see a world where it maybe gets a little redundant because like the floors aren't very unique.
Well, that's how the pit was.
Yeah,
the gate,
exactly.
You know?
Yeah. But I do think that, I think super endgame, like endgame 2, like, I really need, an amulet with like affixes. So I'm just going to spam, tributes of ascendance or whatever. I think that could be really, really beneficial. So I could see it having a place in the game for sure. Next up, I put on here Mercenaries. Have you checked out the Mercenaries at all?
No juice on the Mercenaries. I don't really. Let me see how the system works. This is something that I kind of have avoided a little bit of info on, mainly because I feel like I hate followers in general.
I agree.
I don't like follower systems.
I know.
And so this was something I'm negative going into.
I agree.
I'll just leave it like that.
I was in the same boat. I'm not sure that my opinion has totally changed. I don't like Mercenaries. I will say that at least with these Mercenaries, you remember when D3 Mercenaries came out, like everyone was just running the Templar because of the heal, right? So it's just like, well, you just put that on. This is like everyone has an advantage. Like the tank guy can help you get your all res cap or your armor cap. He can also like, give you a heal. He's kind of like the new Templar. What is this ad? Go away.
Invest in ad blocks.
Wowhead, Jesus. But yeah, some like the Subo guy's really good because he'll reveal your whole map and he'll show you where like mining nodes are or herb nodes are, which are actually kind of important in season 6. Like potions are a really big deal now. I'd say that like the utilities there, like I have got this effect where I can do more damage if I knock an enemy.
Is he like running around with you trying to attack shit, just like followers?
There's D3? 2, so you get a guy that comes with you 100% of the time. I think he's called your mercenary. You hire a mercenary, and then there's a reinforcement option. So you pick a mercenary, but you also pick another mercenary to be your reinforcement, and so you tie him to like one of your skills specifically, and he'll come in and as you cast that skill, he'll come in and do his skill that you pick.
Okay, which
is interesting.
I'm not a big mercenary fan. I it's my character. It's my game. Like
I agree.
He's the focal point of the story for me, for every player. It's like, I don't want an NPC pet that I have to micromanage or rely on ever. So
and the big problem here with the system is there's no benefit to not having them, if that makes any sense. So like, you have to. It's like D3. Like you just put it on. Like you have to.
Just gonna do it.
Yeah. I mean, you could not, but like you're penalizing yourself
for no reason.
Right.
That's cool. I'm not gonna knock the system because I haven't played it. I feel the same after hearing your explanation of what my initial thoughts were when I heard Mercenaries are back, and it's yuck. Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it plays.
But they all do certain things. Like there's going to be probably a meta for whatever kind of, like there's the Subo guy. He gives like some dot benefits. So if you're playing like a dot build, he's good for you. I was a little unimpressed with like their damage. The damage is supposed to be scaling off yours, And so you're like, okay, cool. Like if I'm fire damage, I'm going to pick the fire guy and he's going to be able to like support my damage. But it didn't really feel like that. It didn't really feel like they did that much damage.
Yeah.
They also each have like, so their own skill tree, which we kind of touched on with like their skills. But more importantly, they all have like a passive rank system. Yeah. So like each of them has like rapport and you get all their skills on the unranked at like rank 5, and then they can keep going to like rank, I think 12 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah, and that's like it's giving you rewards like gear, like loot. It looks like
it gives you like markers to spend on the hideout, their mercenary hideout, and that gives you more chance at gear. So I will say, spoiler alert, you definitely want to level all of them. Obviously there's going to be 2 guys that are best for you, but level all of them because it gives the reward guy like more options. So definitely do level all of them. But yeah, it's an okay system. I honestly think the system for getting loot from them is better than the mercenaries themselves. But they also fill up, like they can fill a gap. Like if you have an ability that's like do more damage and knock down enemies, but you don't have any knockdowns you're consistently doing, they can like support that role. So
yeah,
it's like whatever. I hate followers too. I'm still in that same D3 boat of like, God, I hated running a follower. I'm still in that boat now, which is still weird to say because I'm a necro main. I don't like minions. But yeah.
And I do like minions. I just don't like the follower system. And even when they revamped it in D3 and let you equip your followers with gear, it just a meta came from it, right? It's like, okay, so now you have to get these items and put them on your follower and they support you, but it's still set it and forget it. Like you would juice them up and then that's it. You didn't use them again. Mm-hmm. So
you also can't really change them on the fly. You have to go back to the hideout every time. Mm-hmm. So you can't like be like, I'm going to go speed farm some Helltide. Let me go back.
Is the hideout a base? Like
it
like
is kind of a base,
style?
Honestly. It feels kind of like a base.
Is it like a, can you decorate it yourself and do stuff? No.
Just a base.
Well, they'll get there someday.
Maybe. Yeah, so that's Mercenaries. Nahantu is the new area. I will say from playing through it does give very Diablo 2 Act 3 feels. Okay. There are even some cool like events that happen that are very remnant of D3. Again, not going to spoil anything, but I was impressed with the area. I also want to say that the density is very good, like very good in the new zones. So like when a Helltide spawns in Nahantu, it's like, that's a juicy fucking Helltide. Like there's
shit everywhere.
Yeah, there's shit everywhere. So I did like that part about it. Hopefully this will get fixed, but I could not stop crashing when I was loading into the expansion, and a lot of other players were experiencing that. So
it's probably your 13900K. Did you update your microcode?
Yeah, who knows? Shit, man.
That's the whole conversation. If you're a tech nerd, you know what I'm talking about. Yep. Intel put out some crappy processors.
But yeah, that shit was dropping for me like crazy and some other people. But turning down the settings, I was able to get through the campaign, but that felt bad. So hopefully that's fixed. But yeah, I will say the new zone, it is cool. Obviously this is locked behind, buying the expansion. So
how's the campaign going to play out? This is something I was thinking about. Like I'm assuming we're going to start a new character. We can skip the original campaign and go straight into the new juice with a level 1 tune. I'm assuming is how they're going to do it.
Exactly.
Yep. And then just play through that story. By the time you finish the campaign, are you max? I guess they're going to be in-game level ready.
I would say, so for me, and I played through on easy because, again, I'm not about extending my time in the campaign at all. So I'm just like, I want to go through, I want to one-shot everything and get through as fast as I can. I was about level, I want to say 51, 52 by the time I finished the campaign.
Yeah. And World Tier 4 is gated behind, like, it's supposed to be level.
So, Torment 4. So the whole difficulty system's changed. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I have heard. I haven't researched how it's working, but it's a lot harder from what I understand.
Yeah, let's jump into that actually, because it's also one of the bullet points. So there's T1, T2, T3, T4 now. But before that, there's normal, hard, expert, and penitent. These are all, if you have the base game unlocked and you've done it before, like penitent will be unlocked for us. But like I will say I jumped in the hard at level 1 on the campaign, and I was not even able to kill one mob. So I would say normal is probably where you want to stick to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's a good conversational point, that don't waste your time trying to do the campaign for flex at a harder difficulty.
Absolutely
Just get through it. Like, do it on easy, blast it, get to your end game content. I think a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm doing it on hard. Like, good for you. It's going to take you 7 hours.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like 50, 51, 52, I think, by the time I finished the campaign. There are quests after the campaign that sort of guide you into like the Undercity, the Dark Citadel, the seasonal theme. Oh, which I actually don't think I have a bullet point for. We should talk about that. But yeah, but one thing they've changed is so strongholds are actually like really good XP now. So like they give you a whole level, regardless of what level you're on and what difficulty you're on. They will always give you like a full level of XP. So if you finish the campaign and you want to get to level 60, because you want to get to level 60 as fast as you can and get T1, you want to get in Torment 1, absolutely, like just get there, because that's when Ancestral start dropping. After that, you can take your time, but absolutely get into Torment 1 as fast as you can. So get to level 60 and do pit tier 20, which will be probably pretty easy if you're able to get to level 60 and do any sort of pit. But yeah, you want to get into Torment 1. But so if you hit 51 and you're not quite there yet, like go walk around the map. This is what I've been telling people. Is go walk around the map, do your strongholds. You'll get like 1 level per stronghold. Plus, you'll be able to get like your waypoints unlocked, shit like that. But also, pro tips that apparently no one's giving this pro tip out, but do the events that you see. You know how like you run around the world and you see the events, and they're like they've always been there since like vanilla, but they've never been good because like the rewards sucked and obols sucked. But now obols are insane. Obols are really, really good now. Like they will give you uniques. I remember like on PTR, or not PTR, pre-release, I was spamming obols, and if I did like a full inventory of say like chests, like I would get like 2 to 5 uniques.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're very, very good.
So they up the drop chance on it seems like. Cool.
So do those events because they'll give really good obols. But yeah, so that's pretty much all there is on that. I will say that, again, we talked about this earlier. They've made getting into Torment 4 significantly harder. I think that their goal is to, they don't really want people to get into T4. Meta builds will be able to. A Spiritborn, I think, will probably have many, many builds that could probably do T4. But it seems like all the other classes, you'll probably have to play something meta to farm T4, which kind of feels bad, but balance, we know more balance changes. Hopefully that gets better mid-season.
It's just for one season. Next season, every class will be smoking T4 like it's candy, right? So that's the way Diablo goes.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, next up, before I forget, I do want to talk about the seasonal theme. I don't know if I can even have a Diablo or season 6 seasonal theme. I don't think they have. But yeah, so this was actually, I think, my biggest gripe probably with going into season 6. I think the seasonal 6 theme is probably the worst seasonal theme we've ever had.
Is it double circles, double goblins?
Okay, I say in D4. In D4. Let me be more precise.
I know what you meant. I just had to. It's just too easy. It was low hanging fruit.
Yeah. So the gist is you'll see these like pop. It's kind of like Legion, right? Like you get Legion is, I guess, good XP. There's no reason to do Legion. You do 1 Legion all season probably because you need it for your seasonal journey. But anyways, so it's like once per 10 minutes. It's like real fast. But they're like be a zone that would be kind of influenced by hatred. And in that zone, there's what's called a Realm Walker. And it's just this big, giant, bad guy who's got a portal on his back. And so like you fight him, you sort of follow him around, and he's like an event, and he just spawns like more dudes. You keep following him, he spawns bigger dudes. And eventually like he becomes killable, and then you can kill him. And then the portal on his back like drops down, and you can go inside of it. Once you go inside of it, it's like this really basic pit, I guess, but it's not even like as cool as a pit because it's like one static map kind of. And then at the end of the first level, you select your portal going into the second level, and that portal dictates your rewards. And the rewards are just these XP potions that have effects. Like there's one that's like you get more herbs for the next 30 minutes. You get more gold for the next 30 minutes, and like an 8 to 15% XP bonus. And then, which I will say, like, XP bonus is super important because I don't know if you knew, but like Paragons are going up to 300, and it gets real fucking slow after like 200 to get Paragon levels. So I doubt we'll see many people getting to 300 at all. Which is kind of cool, I guess. But so XP potions are going to be super important.
Well, you better. You don't have a job if you're not 300 by the end of the season.
But it's going to be hard, man. I mean, honestly, it's going to be a lot. We will not. People are saying like, oh, it'll probably take a week. I don't think so. I think it's probably take like a month and a half of people playing. I could be wrong, but we'll have to see. Yeah. But yeah, so they're called opals, seething opals, and these like opals. XP potions that last 30 minutes, and they're all powerful. Like you're gonna want to do this seasonal event, but I will say doing the event is like it's super boring.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very exciting, but
and you're gonna get real tired of doing it. I bet real fucking quick.
You're gonna see it and be like, oh, I don't have any potions.
You have to, you have to.
I guess I gotta go do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd honestly even say like if the event is up, before you even start the campaign, like go do it real quick. Like it's more, I don't know. It's like, it's probably going to be worth doing. I don't know if you can even do it at level 1, but
it's kind of like when PoE had the Harvest League. I remember playing that, and it was when you would see the Harvest portal pop up.
Gotta do it.
It was like, it was fun to do, but you had to do it. It was like, this just totally killed momentum to the point that when I finished, I'm like, what was I even doing before I took the portal?
It's honestly still that way, but I'm still like, just because I love Harvest so much, I'm like, fuck yeah, give me that Harvest juice. I don't care that it breaks up the map.
Things that break up the flow of the game to me are kind of like,
I get it. 100% get it. But yeah, I didn't have a bullet point for that, but I want to talk about that real quick. Runewords, quote unquote, returning to Diablo 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard mixed feelings about this. So
so they're cool in the sense that like it's a good idea. Hopefully this system extends itself to like being improved and they can add more runes in the future. But I'll say outside of like maybe 1 or 2 runes being like very unique, like I think Zon rune like is that on this list. Yeah, so Zon is like your next skill cast will be a guaranteed crit and overpower, and it's like 800 or 700 offering to do, which is a big chunk of offering. But it's very like it has a niche place. Like for the Necro, like I can time my ultimate to be a guaranteed crit and overpower, and not even spec my character to be like a crit or overpower build, and that's kind of cool. Like you could just have something that gets like that 1.2 crit multiplier in the base, like 1.2 overpower multiplier or whatever. Like that's just kind of cool.
How has the system changed maybe from D2, or how is the new system implemented?
Well, it's really nothing. It's nothing like the D2 system.
That's the complaints I've seen is it's basically just using the name, but it's like not even.
I think that was a kind of a L. Like obviously the D2 fanboys are going to be like, that's nothing like Runewords. And they're right. Like it's nothing, which we don't want. I know there's some probably Mr. Llama fans in chat, but like runes from D2 sucked. Like it was great for like 20 years ago, but like in D2 they had D2 runes in this game now. Like
so what's the quick overview on these? Like how does it work?
There's the 2 types of runes, and you need them both to function. So there's a one that generates offering. It's like runes of ritual and runes of invocation. The ritual runes are basically how you generate what's called offering. And the runes of invocation are how you spend that offering. So every rune, the ritual runes will generate an X amount of offering based on a condition. For example, it's like evade, you get 75 offering, or stand still for 0.3 seconds, you get 25 offering, etc. And then the invocations are what you spend. So it's like, okay, well,
it's a generator spender system.
Exactly. This kind of just happens as your character does other stuff, or you can like build your character to like.
So how do you track your offering? Is it a buff on your buff bar?
Yeah, it's on your buff bar, and you'll see like a kind of an icon, and then that icon will get like filled, and then once it's filled, they'll like flash for a second.
So you can play around it if you want to a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds pretty lame.
It is, honestly, it is pretty. Like everyone was running. There was one on the PTR, the Barbarian Warcry, because you get like a 35% damage multiplier, and now it's been nerfed, so it's only a 15% damage multiplier. But absolutely everyone's probably still going to be running this Barbarian Warcry because it's still a 15% damage multiplier. You just get, like it's temporarily if you do certain conditions or whatever.
Right.
There are some, like, I like the idea of casting skills from other classes. I do think that is kind of a cool idea. Like you can get, the swarms, the pestilent swarms from the Spiritborn, but like they're poison. Like, so unless you're like a rogue or a druid, a class that can scale poison, like it's just cosmetic, like on a necro, I'd be like, well, yeah, it'd be cool to like get more dots on my build, but like I can't scale poison damage. So I can only scale like shadow. So I think that's kind of lame. You can get like spirit wolves, and so it's like, oh shit, like more minions on a necro. That sounds dope, right. But like you can't scale the wolves. Like only druids can scale the wolves. So it's like, what's the point of giving me abilities from another class if I can't really scale them? And you can get a defensive cooldowns from other classes. So you can get like the druid bulwark, which is really strong. It's like a barrier, damage mitigation. But the fact that it goes off on its own is like kind of shitty. Right, like the whole point of defensive abilities is like to use them when you need them.
Yeah, you can't press the button when you need the button.
Right.
Yeah.
So it
would be kind of cool if maybe you built up the offering and then the offering had a unleash button.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like here's my button, Z, right? And that's my ultimate now. I'm gonna Z this thing and do it, and cool.
But I guess controllers can't have another button, so it doesn't.
Listen, they got a touchpad, right? Swipe up, swipe down, something. I don't know, dude. Figure it out. Modify it.
So I think the rune system's a miss.
I think you just hit it right there on the nail on the head, though. Like the controller can't support the keybinds. And I think if you holistically just look at D4, you can see so many design choices where consoles have played such an important steering of the ship. You know what I mean? And it's it feels bad, man. I hope their sales are crazy on console, because anyway, that's it. I'm done with that rant.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I obviously 100% agree. I think that they're probably like maybe the better part of the system is like there's some that are like, okay, you can get more crit. There's one that's like gives you stacking crits. It's like you can get 25% more crit in your build. It's like, okay, well, if you're really struggling to sort of maybe hit 100% crit, especially early game, like it's kind of nice, I guess, but is it like game breaking or build defining? No. But there's also some like in my Spiritborn build, there's one that lets you cast more swarms just for 100 offering. It's just more swarms. More swarms make you do more damage. It's nice. It's like more swarms and more damage.
Yeah, passively more damage.
It works for your build. And I think that stuff's kind of cool. And like I said, the Zon rune's kind of cool. Like if you had this big ability you wanted to crit and overpower once every while, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. It is cool if some are passive. Yeah. Like it'd be nice to have some passive runes that are just working in the background, making you pump or whatever. But it is still.
Yeah. Like, there's one that gives like 20% more maximum life. So for like your overpower build, like that's pretty strong. It's just happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're a miss. And especially on PTR, they were like strictly cosmetic. Like they did 0 damage. They come through and they buff damage by a lot, like a lot. But I still don't think, again, if you're not that class, like I can get sorcerer meteors on my necromancer, but I can't scale meteors. So it's like, what's the fucking point? It's just cosmetic. So
looks cool.
Yeah, I think that was meh for sure. I don't have a slide for this, but they also did a stat squish. I'm sure you read that. And
I read that they're doing it, but I didn't look into it. Is there any explanation needed other than just numbers will be smaller? We're not going to hit for trillions.
No, we still are.
And just bazillions.
We're still hitting for billions, literally billions still. So the stat squish did not hit the mark whatsoever. I think I guess we're only hitting for like 20 billion versus 340 billion now.
A quintillion.
I was like, it doesn't feel like they did stat squish whatsoever. So that was kind of a yikes. But I mean, I get why they wanted to do it. It just they missed the mark for sure on that.
Okay.
That's really kind of all I had for the Diablo. Obviously, the season 6 comes out tomorrow.
Well, let me ask this.
Okay, light it up.
All right, I'm a guy. I'm watching this pod right now. I'm listening to this pod, and I'm like, man, I haven't bought the expansion because I bought D4, and I feel like it wasn't fun.
Yeah,
and it let me down, and they took my money. They got me right.
Mm-hmm.
Fluff, you've played it. Do I buy this expansion and play tomorrow?
I mean, like,
am I putting you in a tough place?
No,
Mr.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I'll never be a shill. Like, let's just be clear. Like, if anything, I'm surprised they even let me in these like programs because I'm
surprised too. I actually am. I thought you've gotten kicked out and brought back in so many times. I'm like, what's going on here? So okay, but should you buy it? Like, is this?
Okay, so my first answer is going to come from like, oh, I'm an ARPG player. Like, our options right now are like you play Path of Exile, you play Diablo. If you like either of those games, absolutely, like this is 100% worth your money. I think the new endgame content is enough to warrant the price tag. I think being able to do the Undercity, I think the Dark Citadel will be really fun. I think the new zone's really fun. I think the Spiritborn is probably worth the money alone. Like, yeah, I'd absolutely say buy this 100%. If you're someone that's like, I main another game and like I'm kind of interested in DI4 and I play it casually, like, I don't know. I don't think that you should, like, if you're still, okay, here's the other answer I'll give. If you're gonna ever play Diablo 4 in the future, you have to. Like, you just have to buy the expansion because, like, how bad are you? Like, it's just gonna feel shitty going into the game. You don't have Vessel of Hatred
expansion for a while.
Yeah, and there's like,
I mean, can you play? Sure, but you can't.
Yeah,
play.
There's this whole continent of stuff going on that you can't even like access. There's activities you can't do. It's like you're not even really experiencing the game at that point. So like, yeah, if you're playing this game, you like to play this game, you gotta buy it. Like, you just have to. And I would say it's worth it. I say it's worth it. But again, this is coming from. I play ARPGs. Like, it's all I want to play. All I want to play is isometric ARPGs. There's probably, if they probably charge $60 a season, I'd probably do it.
I really want, like, I know they're not going to. This is the biggest pain point for me.
Okay.
I want them to bring the magic of season launch back.
Yeah, 100%.
And I want them to bring the magic of group play back. I want to season launch in D4 with my homies and have a good time. I don't care if it's just for the weekend. That's fine. You know what I mean? But I miss that. I really miss the D3 season launches. And even the first week, I'd say the first week of D3 is still fabulous, you know? So I do miss that. I know that they haven't captured that. As long as they're launching on like Tuesdays and Thursdays and whatever, we're never going to have it back, but I miss it, man. I hope that they bring that back somehow.
I do too.
Like those Friday night launches where we'd stay up until the fucking sun was up the next day.
Until Sunday morning.
Dude, it was, it was fabulous. And it wasn't every night. It only happened once every 3 to 4 months. But when those happened, man, you were just like, fuck yeah, this is season launch. You know what I mean? I'd go out, you'd have your food prepped, you'd have your snacks prepped. You're like, you got your group ready, your teams planned out, what classes you're playing, what you're going to do. And I don't feel like I've never felt that with D4.
No.
Like season launched and me and my homies were playing, but we're all we're solo in it. Maybe we're in Discord chatting.
Yeah.
But it's just like, hey, what level are you? It's like, I don't know, man.
I agree.
Misses it. I want it back so bad. I think that's such an underlooked aspect of D4 that they haven't recaptured. So
absolutely.
But I am excited for it to launch.
Okay.
I want to jump in and play it. I want, I loved Diablo 3 for what it was. I wanted Diablo 4 to be the game. I wanted it to be my game, my main game.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't. It wasn't.
Right.
Never hit that mark. I don't think this is probably going to fix it, but I do want it to be good. Right. I want this to be like, okay, I'm liking this. I'm having a good time.
Yeah. I agree. I think that if anything, D4 pushed me to become like a PoE main. I think right now I'd still consider myself a PoE main with a passion for Diablo.
D3 pushed you or D4 pushed you?
D4 pushed me to be a PoE main. Okay. But I still think that I'm still consider myself a PoE main, but like I just have a passion for Diablo. I want to see this game get better. I think it is getting better. I think they've come a long way in the past 2 seasons. But yeah, obviously we want more. We expect more, I guess, from the next big iteration. And then like when they show, here's the thing too, man, like, and I don't like, this isn't me talking shit on Blizzard. This is just me maybe not understanding the full, compass of what's going on over there. But like they had this image where they showed the Spiritborn but they put in like every face that works on Diablo into like this image of the Spiritborn. And there's
I saw that. Yeah.
Like,
I saw that picture.
Probably like 1,000 people in that photo. And it's just like, we see Path of Exile patch notes come out, and it's like, they've got like 2 people working on that game right now. Like, like it's insane.
Hold on. What kind of sweatshop are they running over there at GGG?
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Happening?
These guys are handcuffed to their desk, Fluff. You know, like, no, I'm with you, man. PoE has set an incredibly unreachable bar by any other game ever. Right? What other game does that? No game drops patch notes like PoE.
Right.
I've never seen it in any other game ever.
And that was the thing too, is like this whole time we were like playing the pre-release, they're like, hey, you know, we didn't have like the 2.02 patch. And they kept kind of like building up this 2.02 patch. It's like, well, you know, 2.02 patch is pretty hefty. Like, you're going to see a lot of stuff get changed. And it's like, oh shit, poggers. Like, and then they released it after the pre-release was over, after the campfire chat. And it's just like, oh, that was the big, I mean, it just wasn't that, it wasn't it. It was not even as big as like the 2.01 notes. So I don't know. Like,
let me switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about the WoW launch, and the reason I want to talk about it is I know a lot of people.
I actually want to hear about it. Legit.
A lot of people that play DO or D4 probably don't care about WoW, but there is some relation there because it's the same company.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, you know, I'm going to backtrack all the way to BlizzCon last year.
Okay.
And we're there. Yeah. And Mike Morhaime comes on stage.
Yeah, I remember.
And he's like, you know,
people are freaking out.
Voice of Thrall, right? Yeah. He's out there just, you know, for the Horde screaming and all this shit. And I'm hyped, man. I'm in it. I'm bought in. Yeah. Like, dude, that BlizzCon was for me because I'm a WoW fan.
I saw a smile on your face. Yeah.
Hey, I was happy. I was super happy. So we go through and the game launches, and they do this scumbaggy, dirty, nastiest gaming trend I've ever seen, where if you buy the ultimate edition, not just one upgrade, but the ultimate, the top tier $100 edition of World of Warcraft, you got the game 3 days early. 3 days. And everybody knows about this. Like, so I'm not going to spend.
But it's usually like digital deluxe. It's like $10.
Yeah. It doesn't even, like, it shouldn't even be a thing. But this is an MMO. This isn't like, you know, you're playing a single player game 3 days early.
Right.
You're playing a game where your leveling matters.
Right.
Where your gear progression matters. Your professions matter. Your ability to mine and gather resources matters. And it's like, what the fuck? Like 3 days early access. If you play the game, you're buying the 3 days early access.
Yeah.
Like 100%. And so what that did, that segmented the community in a way I've never seen in WoW.
Okay.
Of course I bought the 3 days early access. I'm part of the problem.
That's his thing. Oh no. I've derailed us. I'm sorry. I hit the button to sorry. My bad.
That's okay.
My bad.
So if you bought I bought the 3 day early access, and of course I did, because I play the game. I'm not going to go in at a disadvantage, right?
Absolutely.
But it really made this meme that's true. Is it was like the rich people and the poor people, and people genuinely started calling the people without early access poor people, to the point where I think people were like filing reports and trying to get people banned for doing it. But it was like, imagine not having the money to buy early access.
Jesus.
And this was a thing. This was like, this is not me just making shit up and talking shit. It was really a genuine thing. There were groups that people were forming to go kill the poor people when general access came. All of the early access were max level and had gear. Yeah. Right. So they're like forming PvP groups to go camp the poor people.
Why would you do that? Like, why would you not want population in your game?
Listen, it's funny though. It is funny. It's funny as hell. And so, I don't know, man. It's a very scumbaggy move, and I'm really surprised they didn't do it with D4. I'm happy they didn't do it with D4. But the WoW expansion came out, and then they time gated everything. They time gated. Okay, so their thing was like, we're going to give people 3 days early access, but we're only going to let them do normal dungeons. they can't do heroics or mythics. That's not in the game. Okay, so then general access hits, and now we can do heroics. Well, the day that general access hit, heroics unlocked. So the people with early access were doing heroics instantly as soon as the servers went up, while the general population is leveling. Whatever, not the end of the world.
Sure.
Eventually they merged, but the time gating they did, mythics were locked 2 weeks after launch, or a week after launch. I can't remember. Mythic Plus was another week after that. The raid was like 2 weeks back. Mythic raid was like 3 weeks back. So that there was like 2 to 3 weeks of time gating on an expansion that I kind of felt like didn't have a lot of content out of the gate anyways, because if you remember from BlizzCon, they did their 3 expansion launch, like their 3 expansion, 1 per year instead of their typical 2 years, right? So the content was a little bit less. In general, the story was good. I'm not a crazy campaign lore guy, right? So it was cool. I followed it. It was fun to see characters again. But in all, I think the general reception of this expansion has been pretty positive. But me personally, I don't think I don't rank it that high on my list because of the time gating. I logged in and the early access, I leveled 5 characters to max level because that's all you could really do, right? So so now I have 5 characters.
5? That's insane.
5. Yeah. And then the first week, once general access hit, I geared up 2 characters, full heroic gear, and then I'm like, well, let me do full PvP gear too. Then I geared all 5 characters full PvP gear. Okay, cool. Like now I got nothing. Like the time gating really screwed up the pacing. I feel it was a huge mistake. It doesn't look like D4 is doing any time gating. It doesn't look like they did any pre-sales, early access bullshit. So that's good. At least the D4 team seems to have enough power at this point to be like, we can't do this. It'll segment the population. I feel like the more successful D4 gets, the more pressure there will be to do scumbaggy procedures like that. And so the ties all the way back in is this is all Blizzard. Like, WoW's Blizzard, D4 is Blizzard, all this. So at some point, I feel like it's going to happen. I feel like they're going to start these scumbaggy practices in D4, and it makes me kind of sad. So
yeah, I think anything. I mean, I get it. Like, it's probably the new meta of like games to have like the early access for extra money or whatever. But I like maybe 1 day, maybe 2 days, like not more than that. Especially, I think for an MMO, it's bad because you don't want to separate the population. Like. So like some people are going to be ready for, whatever. What was it? Mythic? Is it Mythic Dungeons or? Yeah.
Mythic Plus, but they time gated that like 3 weeks back.
Oh my God. Well, never mind. That's so stupid.
Yeah. Right. It's so stupid. Right. So like on day 1, like you remember when we did BFA together, right? And we were doing mythics and they were difficult at the time because we were under geared. We were doing that day 1, day 2, right?
Yeah.
None of that shit. They time gated all of that.
So what'd you do? Like you got to max level and you
leveled alts. That's why I have 5 alts.
You know what I'm
saying? Right. That's my point. It's they time gated it all to hell. And the reason they time gated it so hard, I feel like, is because they were trying to justify giving people 3 days early access. But do you know how many ultimate editions they sold because of that 3-day early access?
Probably a bunch.
Astronomical. I don't know the numbers, but there were like 500,000 people playing and leveling. I wouldn't have bought Ultimate Edition without that. I don't care about the stupid mount they gave me with it. Like the mount sucks anyways. Like I don't care. So I did it for the 3 days early access. I don't know, man. It's so the expansion's been okay. Like honestly, PvP has been more fun in WoW than I've had in 5 years. They did some really good things with PvP. I think PvE is in a horrible tuning state. I think they've screwed Mythic Plus up. The raid is it's a raid. It's okay. But PvP has been fun, man. They added a new PvP game mode. It's a solo queue ranked battlegrounds, but it's 8v8 instead of bigger numbers.
Okay.
So your impact on the team makes a bigger difference. Like you can almost carry a 8v8 battleground. Like one player can make a difference, right? And they sped up the game. Your mount moves faster, the objectives are faster. So the game is just constantly flowing and moving. They did a lot of tweaking on it. It's been phenomenal. It's been so fun. I've actually enjoyed that quite a bit.
Okay.
And since it's a solo queue, it's not like you have to go find a group to play with. You don't have to worry about going up against full stack pre-mades every time you play.
Have you been banned yet for your toxic chat behavior?
I have not been banned since the expansion. Okay, take that back. I got banned for a week prior. Listen, did you know this, or are you just talking shit?
No, I knew that.
Okay. I did get banned. I missed the first 6 hours of early access.
Remember, you used to be the nice guy. I
used to. For telling, God, what did I say? It wasn't very bad. Blizzard has implemented an auto ban system if people report you.
Okay.
So I was doing the new battleground mode came in the pre-patch, right? So it's been there. It wasn't a feature release on expansion.
Okay.
So I was doing that, and I was saying, we had a healer that, maybe did less healing than DPS, and I'd say like, hey, good job, buddy. Some stuff like that. Nothing crazy. It's not like I was like, go, do bad things to yourself. But I was like, good job, bud. You did awesome. Or just, sarcastic things. Sure. And, yeah, man, I got a week ban for it. And I haven't tried to get clarity on what it was I said. And it's just auto replies. You can't get any justification. So interesting. Yeah.
Well, good job, buddy.
Yeah, good job, buddy. So I think it's got to be an auto report thing. Like I said, I got banned in Overwatch for 2 weeks for saying dunked on. Literally dunked on got me a 2-week ban in Overwatch. So I was
sensitive Sallies.
It's Blizzard's gone completely like, flowers and roses only. So. Don't critique somebody's gameplay if they don't do good. The only thing you can say is, "Hey, you'll get them next time, champ."
Okay, so you're in the raiding. You're back. You're raiding in retail.
I'm raiding in retail.
How many nights a week? Like, is it good?
I'm only doing twice. I'm only doing 2 nights a week. The team I'm on is fantastic.
Okay,
they are ballers. They're chads. They carry me. It's fun. I had a good time. The raid's okay. It's not the best raid I've ever had. It's probably not the worst. It's just middle of the pack. It's cool. The gearing system is so separated from PvP and PvE now that historically in WoW, I've always enjoyed PvP. That's probably one of the biggest draws why I've played the game. And then over the years recently, I've kind of been drawn out of the PvP into more of a PvE gameplay because PvP wasn't as good, right? It just wasn't in a place where I enjoyed it a lot. Historically, though, in classic WoW, you needed raid gear to compete in PvP. It's not the case anymore. In retail WoW, it's all PvP gear acquired through PvP. Everybody is kind of on the same foot. Like your gear is all pretty equal once you get it. There's no gating behind raiding. There's no gating behind ability to get rank to buy pieces. So it's a lot more of an even playing field, which turns my drive to raid down more, I believe, because I don't need the pieces to compete in PvP anymore.
Okay.
So, but I do it. It's fun. I'm having a good time. Mythic Plus is broken. It's trash right now.
Oh God.
Which is my favorite PvE game mode, and it's bad. They gotta fix it. I've actually quit. I did one Mythic Plus yesterday with the buddy. We failed the key. Which should have been an easy key because the healer was struggling at the last boss. We wasted like 40 minutes of our life. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing Mythic Plus anymore until they fix this system. So yeah.
Rip season, dude.
But that's it, man. That's the WoW
Wasn't there some new like AI PvP mode or something? Did I see that?
They did. They put AI dungeons in where you can do dungeons with followers. You don't really get any rewards. But if you were like a antisocial, or you're a not skilled player, you're new to the game, or maybe you're playing with your kids or something, you could do the AI follower dungeons, and you don't have to interact with real people and worry about toxicity or why'd you pull that mob we don't need. WoW has turned into a very meta game. Every game's a meta game, right? But it's very meta. Like you pull one extra mob you don't need as the tank, and people lose their shit. Like, why'd you pull that? We don't need to pull that. Oh my God, you're so bad. Go kill yourself. You're like, it's just horrible. Like it's turned, and that's probably why they have the filters up so high to ban people from chat and reduce that. But the follower dungeons get you out of all that. So
yeah, I'll never forget. Like we played that BFA, and I was like, okay, like maybe I'm a WoW enjoyer. Like that first mythic we did, and then I was just like, 2 days after that, we were like outgeared it, and then it was just like, ugh, it just sucks.
Yeah, and then they put in the Mythic Plus system, which is like Greater Rifts, right? It just goes up and up and up forever.
Yeah, I don't think anything will make me return to that game. But
it's okay. It's like it's not in the best. I personally had more fun in the end of Dragonflight than I'm having right now in the world with
interesting.
So I'm still playing it, right? It's not like I'm not playing it, but it's not. I feel like season 3 and season 4 of Dragonflight were more fun personally for me than the War Within season 1 has been. So,
all right. Well, anything else to talk about in the WoW? Okay.
That's it for the WoW stuff. I started playing God of War. New God of War.
Is there a new
came
one?
out in 2022?
Oh, okay.
No, it came out in like 2022. I bought it on PlayStation and played it for 3 hours.
Like, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that came out on PC, and so behind me, I don't know, you can probably see. I bought like a 49-inch super ultra wide Samsung G9 monitor and mounted it to the wall.
Oh fuck!
So right behind me is my lounge chair. So I lay in this lounge chair with this G9 monitor.
Stream room has become a man cave.
It has become a man cave. It is absolutely fantastic.
Love that.
So it's weird, man. So once I went super ultra wide, it's very hard to play games on a normal monitor.
Do you WoW on the ultra wide?
I WoW on the ultra wide. I D4 on the ultra wide. I do everything on the ultra wide. So it's
porn? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, ultra wide. Got to fit it all on the screen. So it's a good time. It's a 240 hertz monitor, so it's still high refresh rate.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man.
Doggies, dude. Sounds sick.
God of War's, I've been playing that in super ultra wide on PC at 180
I'd probably
frames,
be an ultra wide gamer if like the streaming thing didn't suck. You just still can't.
Yeah.
It's
nice for D4 because you get extra field of view.
I'm sure.
Like it doesn't even support so D4 has some major issues with ultra wide, just in case you're in the market of like, maybe I'm going to check it out. So on a super ultra wide, they have an area they'll call the safe zone, which is typically a standard 16:9 monitor. If your UI starts to get out of that 16:9 area, you have to like start turning your head to see it. And it sucks. So D4 doesn't support that. And so your mini map is like way over here on one side, and then your chat's over here on the other side. And so you're literally like doing like this to see stuff. But you get so much more screen real estate that it's kind of like, damn.
I remember when they did that in D3, like it made it so that mobs would actually see you further, so it was like a net negative because like more things could like jump on.
I never looked into it in D3, so I don't know what they did, but it is nice to have that extra field of view in D4.
I'm sure.
So I don't know, man. If for World of Warcraft though, I can't play on a regular monitor now because you get so much more UI room that you can put non-essential shit out of the way, so it's not blocking like what you need to see.
That's nice.
And so that's really, really cool. I really hope. I even posted a message, and like you and I have access to some of the D4 devs and stuff, and I've actually commented and been like, hey, can we get some safe zone for D4 so we can like get the UI to work on an ultra wide? Of course, no responses, but hopefully they put it in. So I know Lexi plays on a ultra wide. I know Pez actually has an ultra wide too, I believe. So
wow,
there's a couple people.
But surely, so
I can rally the troops. I know, like rally the troops for me, Pez. What's up? So
we'll
see.
Log in the ultra wide.
Yeah, you should get one. It's a good time.
I mean, if they make streaming improvements, I probably would look into it. But until then,
just capture the 16:9 area. I don't know.
I don't think it works like that. I think it legit. You have to resize your ultra wide down.
It makes it black. It makes it black barred.
Yeah,
like you can stream it.
Like cute dogs, like cute dog stream where it's like it's black at the bottom. I hate that. I can't stand that.
That's where that's where you put all your stuff. You put all your.
I get it.
You put all your like, hey, I don't have a job. Like, donate to me.
I can just type that up.
Hey, if you guys are watching the podcast though, support your boy, man. He's been it's like listen, Fluff's putting in some work. He's got the new guides up on the YouTube.
Hey, support the streamers. happening tomorrow again? Hey,
yeah, there's like you get some cosmetics.
Yeah.
There are like a gifted sub thing, I think, where you're gonna get some cosmetics.
2 subs for mount, 4 subs for a super special mount. Just saying,
there you go.
Only works in this stream. No other stream.
Works.
Crazy.
Yep. So,
but moving on to another game altogether. So I don't know if you got to play at all. I know you're not a big PoE guy, but the last okay, here we go. All right.
Some of us got to work tomorrow, Fluff.
Okay, all right. But the most recent expansion called Settlers of Cowgirl. It was honestly
Cowgirl.
Cowgirl. I mean, that's what people call it. It's Cowgirl. Cowgirl, but it sounds like Cowgirl. It was phenomenal. Honestly, the best expansion since Harvest. It's that good. You could
so good.
It had like an auto play aspect to it, so you could like send ships to get supplies for you while you were not playing.
What is this house building that they were doing?
Yeah, and it's like you build up the town, so that you build up the town, and eventually you can build a port, and then the port is where you can send off materials, and then eventually you can build this like map device, so you have like little followers that go run maps for you. It's really good. I mean, the whole thing.
So you liked the mobile autoplay mechanic, huh?
I did in this game. I think it worked. I'd love to see it become like a permanent thing in Path of Exile. I'm not sure how they would do it, but obviously this season, just paired with how good the current state of Path of Exile is, it was just like I played so much. I played unethical amounts of Settlers of Cowgirl.
Okay.
And then, it warrants itself into like there's T17 maps now, and like, the Uber bosses, like and especially as an SSF player, like it is so difficult to get into a place where you can farm T17 maps. It's so difficult to get to a place where you can even kill Uber bosses. I'm not 7 out of 7 on Path of Exile SSF. So like it's pretty nuts. Love this game. Cannot wait for the next iteration, which we'll touch on real quick. November 15th. Can you believe it?
It's coming soon. You know what scares me though is that PS5 Xbox on the bottom down there.
I mean, it's always been available on consoles. But
it's just like they're just ignoring it a little, like, hey, you can play it if you want.
I really don't have any fear of like Path of Exile getting dumbed down for consoles. I mean, personally, but
have they launched any new trailers? I've kept up a little bit.
Yeah.
I've watched the new cinematics as they've come out, but I haven't looked in a month or so.
They've come out with like whole new game, like they've done like Gamescom and some other stuff, so they have like legit full uploads of like playthroughs, but it's still all like early game. We still have yet to see like a fully juiced character in the end game or anything like that. But man, people are like, are you nervous it's going to be? I'm like, no. I just have no doubt in my soul that this game is going to be just what consumes all of me. I really wish, like I said, I wish that like I was sort of in a place where this could be my unemployment time, which doesn't last like 6 months, because I would love to no life this game for like just 3 months.
Yeah, it does look good. I remember watching the reveal stream that they did where they showed us the gameplay. I wonder how many improvements it was ExileCon, I believe, where they had some of the streamers playing it and getting their asses kicked, and their feedback wasn't super positive from that, which was a long time ago, right?
Okay.
But I'm curious to see I shouldn't say their feedback was negative. I felt like the gameplay feedback wasn't where they wanted it to be.
Right. I think it'll be an adjustment. I think that, a lot of Path of Exile players, like obviously we expected zoom. And this is very, very, very slowed down, at least for like the start. But I'm just so like, there's just so much that I've seen that it's just like, God, that looks good. And there's going to be a lot of big brain mechanics, which I love. I don't like things that get dumbed down. I love systems that are like super complicated and take time to learn and all that stuff. So I don't know. I could not be more hyped for this game. I cannot wait.
I'm excited to see how they do their monetization scheme too. If they keep it the same.
Yeah, it's going to be the same.
As PoE1. And it's like, are they going to force me to buy a couple tabs every season for convenience, or how's it going to play out?
So, I mean, as far as I know, everything like staying the same, So they're still logging into that whole like, hey, if you bought something in PoE1, it's going to be in PoE2. So
I don't know how they're going to keep up with that. That seems crazy.
Especially
no,
with PoE1 staying up as a game. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But, I mean, even if they abandon it and it just stays there, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But it's cool. November 15th is just around the corner.
I know.
It's like you got 5 weeks, So basically you're going to get your 3-week Diablo 4. Because 3 weeks is like, that's the
good.
time.
That's a good time to spend on the season, I think.
3 weeks, and then boom, you're into PoE.
Dude. And I didn't get early access at all. I'm so sad. They sent a survey that was like enough? And I didn't fill it out, I guess, fast enough. Like I missed the period to fill it out, and I don't know if that was like a dictator of how much you.
Well, I thought you got early access if you were spent enough.
Apparently not, because I know I spent like a pretty decent amount. But
I thought I read the number was $500. If you spent 500,
I at least probably spent. Well, maybe not. Maybe just under it. But it's close.
I think it was if you spent 500, you were juiced in. So
wow, I didn't get it.
Wow, what a shill! You didn't even spend $500.
I know, and I wouldn't probably be here right now. Like I'd probably be offline playing the beta for this thing still if I had access. So it's probably a good thing. It's probably a net positive I didn't, because I wouldn't be even playing probably Diablo right now if this game was out. So
right.
But yeah, so excited,
what else? Man. Is there anything else that we missed?
No, I didn't want, there was some last Epoch. The last Epoch, have you had a chance to play the last Epoch?
I fired it up and I played for like an hour one day.
Okay.
I wasn't feeling it.
Okay.
But it was the place I was in. I don't want to put negativity.
This is post launch, or was this still?
This was post launch. Okay. This was maybe even the first season they did. I don't know if they're calling them seasons, whatever they called it. But I think it was the first reset, and I logged in and I only played for like an hour. It was cool. I just wasn't really in the mood for that game at that time.
Okay.
So I've heard people give the game a lot of praise.
Yeah.
So
I went pretty hard when it came out, and I went decently hard the second season. I think the current season is like a mini season, because I guess the start of this season had some bugs or something, so they like reset. I will say that I love making a build. I've spent probably more time in the planner for last Epoch than actually like playing the game. I don't love like the end game loop of the like slowly building your corruption on a particular map to farm, legendary potential items. But mapping out a build and potentially like, oh yeah, I want to map out having like 3 LP on every legendary I have and actually landing those powers that I want. And like, I think crafting is incredibly cool. I love the itemization. It's just like
I've heard
the gameplay. Like the gameplay is just like, blah, like running the maps, and it's just not fun. But like the crafting is amazing. The build planning is amazing. The things that they've thought of with like the skill trees, for each skill. And so I love all of that. But like the gameplay is just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's on there. I to be honest, man, I don't think I'll probably ever play Last Epoch.
Okay.
If I'm being like, it's not that it's a bad game or I have anything negative to say about it. It's just a matter of feeding it, prioritizing it over other things.
Yeah.
And it's like,
especially with PoE2 coming out soon.
Yeah, it's like WoW is historically one of my favorite games ever. The Diablo franchise is always going to be on the list. So it would have to rise above. Like PoE2 is coming out. I'll try that. I'm always going to play WoW. Whatever new WoW stuff comes out, I'll do that. And then I'll be connected with D4. So it's really just a matter of time.
Yeah.
If you're a ARPG Andy, which I don't really know if I fill in that classification these days, I feel like I'm more of a MMO.
You're RPG. Blizzard Andy these days.
Yeah, I am. So and Overwatch, like I play Overwatch too, right? Like, I really am a Blizzard Andy, which is kind of funny. Because I think they screw so much stuff up. But yeah, I don't try it out, man. If you're RPG Andy, I've heard good things about it. I really have heard that the crafting system is really light years really better good. Than D4.
Oh, D4 still doesn't even have a crafting system.
Yeah,
like it literally doesn't. Like, re-rolling an item is not crafting. So
right, 100%. What about bricking it when you forge it though? That's crafting.
Yeah, I love that. That's
a great system. Yeah.
Love it.
So, actually, it was funny the arguments we had over the forging in the behind the scenes, there was, a bunch of streamers and giving feedback to the forging system, and we were all on different sides of the boat.
Okay.
Like you're part of that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I was like, this sucked. I just bricked 2 weapons. This, and everybody like, oh, that's fantastic. So it's just, it just depends on what side of the spectrum you fall in as to your feelings on if you should, do that or not.
I agree. I think that's one of the big problems too, is like in a game like Diablo, like your only option is to like, okay, hey, like go get another thing to hopefully master or to temper, right? Whereas in Path of Exile, you can brick something as long as you didn't like corrupt it. Like you can break an item and be like, fuck, I didn't land the thing, or that's not as high enough modifier to like warrant an upgrade. Well, I'll just go again. You just like reset the item and start crafting again if you've got the currency for it. So it just doesn't work that way in D4. It's just like you just go get lucky again, hopefully, and get that 3 GA or 2 GA item. So
Yep. I will say there is a feature that's added in D4 that was my suggestion. You want to the feature?
Let's hear it, boy.
So, shout out to myself. I don't know if we ever talked about this on a pod.
Okay.
For Diablo 3, they specifically implemented monk changes that were word for word what I wrote up to the team.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool to see. But then for D4, I've given specifically in season 4, I gave a crap ton of feedback.
Okay.
But one of the things that I suggested was a favorite town portal, like a Hearthstone.
Okay.
And they actually put that in. And I was like, yo, that was me, boys. I didn't get any credit. They didn't say because PChild suggested it in the patch notes. So I'm like, why not? But no, that was 100%. There were some other people that co-signed it when I threw it up. But I was like, yo, can we get a favorite town portal so I don't go to random towns depending on what zone I'm in? Like, I want to go to this one every single time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, cool.
Oh, and just so you guys know how to do that, you just right click the town you want on your map. They don't like give you any insight on how to do that.
How to do it.
Yeah. There's no like quest. It's like, hey, set a favorite. But that's just how you do it. You click the portal you want and right click it.
That was the easiest win of all the suggestions I made. Yeah. But it was like, but it is cool to see shit that you're like, hey, this is something that I was like, yo, can you do this? And they're like, yeah, here you go. So I'm nice. Like, cool. Thanks, man.
That's nice. It also is kind of nice. Something they sort of slid into the patch notes was in Torment Plus now, you don't see yellows and blues. They just get auto salvaged as mats.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, so that was a nice change because it's not like.
Are your pets picking up shit now? I forget.
Yeah, the pets pick up gold and mats, but they still don't pick up gear. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they because the pets came in season 4 when I was playing, but it's hard to remember. Like, am I thinking D3 and blending that into 4, or if they were picking shit up?
Yeah.
So.
Remember to turn your pet on immediately when you load into season 6. That is a huge advantage to have.
Mm-hmm. Turn on your pet.
I forgot for a while. I was like, oh shit.
The tiger mount's pretty cool that they give you with the ultimate. By the way, I think you're still doing the raffle, right?
That's right. Still going on.
The raffle
draw after this stream, chat.
So you get the cool kitty cat mount if you win the raffle. It's pretty dope. So I actually liked it.
Yeah, it's cool. The cat period is pretty cool. You get one. Here's another spoiler. You'll get a kitty cat when you level 2 the campaign, and I think he looks pretty cool. I think he looks cooler than the one you get for Ultimate Edition.
Oh shit!
Yeah, kitty cat.
Damn. Okay.
So log in, dude. Tomorrow at 6. Are you gonna be on it tomorrow at 6?
Yeah, I think so.
Hell yeah,
I was just debating if I was gonna stream or not. I don't.
Okay.
I haven't decided.
Bruh. We could group up, bro. Well, I'm skipping cutscenes though. I don't know if you want to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy the campaign. And you already know mechanics. I'll be sitting there reading shit, and you'll be like, "Come on, let's go." So,
what are you doing? Look at me.
Yeah, come on. Right. So it would be
good
cool.
Job, buddy.
It would be cool if we could do the raid together at some point.
Yeah, dude.
Like I'm sure you'll have already blasted it by the time I get there. And I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I don't feel prior seasons I felt obligated to play D4 or to play D3 when I was streaming and making content.
Yeah.
I don't have that feeling of obligation anymore. No. So if I'm not feeling it,
don't play it. Yeah.
Then I'll be like, peace. I'll go play WoW or go play something else. So I really hope it's fun. I hope I get sucked in. I hope it's great. Too.
I think you will like the Spiritborn. I think that will be a thing.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, and then I'll carry you through some Ubers, and you can just give me your Ring of Rising Moon, and
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds like a plan. Cool. Well, this is kind of a one-off pod. I didn't have time to collect.
Yeah,
a lot of questions from the community, like we normally do. Right?
Well, there's still a PChild loves, right?
Yeah, PChild loves and a Fluff hates. We still got that, and I still have a couple questions.
Okay, good.
So, nothing crazy, but if you guys want to submit questions, Fluff and I both have Discords. I think he has a command to show them in the chat. If you're on YouTube's, I assume we'll throw them down there. But it's mine's easy. It's discord.gg/ThaPChild. You can join up. There's a new meta section in there where you can ask questions for future podcasts.
It will get answered eventually.
I don't promise when the next episode will be, but
eventually.
I do read the questions. We will answer the questions, so feel free to come throw them in there. So the fluff hates. I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah.
I have some good loves.
So there's obviously, and I get this because I think I had the same sort of qualm when the Diablo Vanilla 4 came out. Is that people are sort of upset that streamers, content creators, media got access to the content first. And well, I get that. Like, people kind of feel like, well, things are solved already. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that, for one, even the build guide that I posted, like, I think it was 2 days ago, where I'm like, hell yeah, Poison Burn Spiritborn. It's sick. It is a sick build, and I think it'll be like probably one of the best for speed farming like content. But even that, like, I've already made like 2 improvements to it, right? And I think that every build guide I've seen is like, well, they didn't quite understand that mechanic, or ooh, I think they could have done that a little bit better by doing this. Or like, so I don't think that anything is absolutely solved by any means yet. I think that we still like need more time to figure out like what Paragon boards are the best, and I think some things were just really hard to test in the pre-release, and we didn't have access to the 2.02 patch that has some like bug fixes and balancing in it. So yeah, don't feel like, oh well, we already know what the best build for next season is going to be, because I don't think that we do at all. Yeah. But 2, also, if you don't like that kind of, if you don't want to be spoiled, like don't go on YouTube. Like don't go watch videos.
That's me right here. Like, I haven't watched. My YouTube knows, right? They're sending me all the stuff. They're like, my timeline is filled up with D4 juice, but I'm just not clicking it. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do this. And then get in there and try to figure out some builds. And if I'm struggling, then I'll maybe be like, yo, Fluff, yeah, I'm getting my ass kicked. Like, what are you running? Mm-hmm. Like, what should I rock? Mm-hmm. What's juicy? So get some help if you need help. But
not only that, like some people, I still talk to people regularly that like going into every Path of Exile league, they have a build guide up. It's just like how they enjoy playing the game. They just want to follow someone's build guide, like put that together and blast. Like, that's all. They don't want to like.
Some people don't want to think about the game. They want to just enjoy the game. Exactly. And that's cool too, right?
So
I really enjoyed in D3 trying to make speed builds for farming greater rifts and or T13, 16, whatever it was at the time. I enjoyed that. I didn't enjoy trying to put together push builds.
Right.
It just wasn't something that I gravitated towards. And in D4, I didn't enjoy doing any builds prior to season 4, but then when season 4 Necro minions got reworked, I was enjoying it. So I actually, as I was enjoying the gameplay, I'm like, let me see if I can make this better.
Yeah.
And so I had like skeletons of other builds, and then I would just like do my own thing. I'm like, this plays better. This feels better. Right. And then so people would, I streamed it a little bit, or some of my friends were like, what are you rocking? And I'm like, well, I kind of made it up. Right. You guys can do the same shit. Like, you don't have to just copy.
Absolutely.
Like, experiment with stuff. But if you don't, then that's cool. Copy Fluff's guides and be a poison Spiritborn.
That's right. Goddamn right. Yeah. I mean, I get the controversy. I think that, if there's something like a race and then, people got to play it ahead of time, like, yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, you're already exempt, right? Like, if there was a race for the world's first raid, like, okay, you have a crazy advantage, right?
But, and again, there's no leaderboard or anything right now either, so I just don't feel there's any advantage whatsoever than, like, I guess I can go to Torment 1 faster than the average Joe, but that was already true, you know what I mean? Like, so
it's not a controversy. People just like to complain.
Yeah, I get it. I
got
get it,
some
though.
loves.
Yeah.
You ready for this love?
Yes.
Tell me that you've been watching the new Penguin show on HBO.
I have not. I don't have
God.
so like I pay for like the Hulu's, everyone like kind of shares account, and then whoever was sharing Max with me just recently, like I just said, I guess they started to stop paying for it. So that's the one with the Colin Farrell, right?
Colin Farrell, yeah.
That looked good.
I'll have to try to, like, I shared, like you said, sharing it. It's not my account. It's my cousin's account that has it, so I can't really give it away. But I'll see what I can do for you, man, because it's
good. I'm always
fantastic.
looking for a good new show.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
I love it. I don't know. I love it.
I liked him in the. I mean, I think he was probably one of the more enjoyable. I didn't love that movie, but I think he was.
Yeah. You can't even tell that it's Colin Farrell. Like,
that's great. That's cool.
Like, you don't know it's him. You can't see that it's him. You can't hear that it's him. Like, you're like, that's Colin Farrell. Okay, but he kills it, man. He absolutely kills it. So that's been my Sunday ritual now. That's what we do on Sunday nights. Me and the waifu, we watch the new show. She's a little mad at me because we're supposed to watch it tonight.
Are you up to date on the challenge and stuff?
I am.
Okay, dude.
Yeah, I am.
What era are you rooting for right now?
Well, my boy is CT, and you already know how that went.
Yeah.
So he came in.
He came a little chubby this time.
A little overweight CT. I wasn't expecting that, right? So no, man, I love CT. I hope he gets back into his beast mode shape and just kills it.
Like literally kills people.
Yeah, like literally. I don't know who I'm actually rooting for. What person? Like I just don't pick an era.
Okay.
I'd have to say historically, I kind of think Kylan's a douchebag, but
really,
I like him on this season.
Okay.
Like he has this, like some seasons I hate him and some seasons I love him.
He does have like a chip on his shoulder as far as like intelligence goes. Yeah, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like he's a little misunderstood sometimes, but I do think he's a great competitor.
Yeah,
he's good at everything.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm kind of rooting for him.
Okay.
So, and then Cara Maria is just smoking. So like. I kind of root for her too.
Smoke? Like you think you're smoking hot?
Yeah,
really?
I do personally. You don't think so?
I like when she was younger. I think here's my thing is like, and I'm not body shaming anyone. It's just like my personal preference. But I think like sometimes when women do CrossFit for too long, like their abdomen gets probably like a little too thick for my taste. And again, this isn't me. Like this is just what my preferences are. I think that's great that she's in great shape, right? But for me, I don't love the woman CrossFit body. Even though I appreciate people being in great shape, I'm just not a crazy fan.
I think she's cool. I like her attitude. I think she's picks on her and Laurel's kind of.
Dude, Laurel is so toxic, man.
I know.
She's so
anyway,
toxic. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I can nerd out about challenge all day, right?
Yeah.
It's good, man. It's a good season. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. So.
For sure. Right on.
How about you? Who do you want to win? If I had to pick female, Cara Maria, and then if I had to pick a male, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm gonna say Devin, just because he just talks so much shit, and I love it.
God, who's that girl? I think is she Arrow 2? Yeah, I think she's Arrow 2, maybe Arrow 3. But she was just on All Stars, and she's super cute. I forget what her name is. She's the hot one to me. She doesn't get a lot of screen time because I don't think like she's not dramatic enough or something. So
I'm trying to even think who you're talking about.
She's so cute. I think she just voted herself for the captain for this week, or whatever she's on. Anyways.
Oh, A starts with the A.
Yeah, Avery. Avery
is
that right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Avery, and what about your guy? Who's your guy favorite?
Guy. I'm old school, so I guess. Johnny Bananas, get your number 8, dude.
Yeah, he's
get
so
your number 8.
Too. He's so toxic too. I know.
He's right though. Ryan
Johnny Bananas is like you personified in the challenge character though. Like you guys have the same personality. I feel like I actually like Johnny. I like rooting for Johnny, but dude, he's a douche sometimes, man. Like it's pretty funny.
People probably say the same thing about me though. So
true.
Big true.
It's true. Big true.
All right,
guys.
Same time next year.
Yeah, maybe. Let me hear. Hold on. I do have one. Let me pull the question up.
Okay. Oh yeah, questions. Hell yeah.
I don't know if they're. Where did I close them? Computer. Too many PCs.
Beep, boop, beep,
Did I actually closed it. Hold on. I had to open it.
Nice.
There it is. All right. So this is kind of, I guess, going on your travels. You went and climbed Mount Everest.
That's right.
You didn't really tell me about that. Tell me about that real quick.
Oh,
How
man.
was it?
Wild. It's humbling.
Like how long were you gone?
All said and done, probably like 2 months.
You were there. It was a 2-month hike to the top?
No. But I was like gone for that long.
Yeah.
It took 8 days of hiking from, I forget the name of the town, to get up to base camp. It took another, I want to say day. No, it took like a day to get through the icefall to Camp 1, acclimate another day. And then so all said and done, like top and then getting back down to the town, probably like 22, 23 days.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. A lot of walking.
How do you pack 22 days worth of food?
Well, here's the great part about this whole adventure. So like, you don't follow me on Instagram, so like you just have no idea. I landed in Kathmandu, and I had to fly. Lukla was the name of the town. So you have to fly into Lukla, and it's the most dangerous flight in the world. It's like this tiny plane, and like it's not the best plane you've ever been on in your whole life. And the conditions are bad. So like the plane just gets pushed around, and sometimes visibility sucks, and like people crash because you're literally flying right next to the mountains. So like if anything is off, you're just dead. So it's considered the most dangerous flight in the world. Anyways, you take that flight in Lukla, but I landed in Kathmandu, and my flight to Lukla was at like 11 a.m. the next day, and I just landed at like 10 o'clock p.m. And I land, and like your worst nightmare. This has never happened to me ever, but I had my backpack, which had like clothes, and then I had my climbing gear and all my hiking gear and a checked bag. And you got lost. It got hella lost.
It's gone, huh?
It's gone. And so I'm like, oh God, I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I have no gear to climb Mount Everest. And all of my food, like all these rations, protein bars and like this stuff that I'd gotten to like sort of make this quest, and all gone. And so, hoping to get it the next morning. Airline can't even figure out where it is. Someone that was on my flight from Indonesia had an air tag on her bag, and it was still in like Indonesia. So it's like, okay, well, they don't even know where it is. So that's gone. So I was like, well, I could either wait around for the bag and miss my window to climb, or because it was late season, it's shoulder season, or I just go and figure it out. So I was like, well, I'll just go. And so I flew into, and I think I had 4 pairs of underwear, charging cables, sandals, because I went to Bali for a week first.
Yeah.
And like a tank top, maybe some gym shorts, and like that was pretty much it. And the clothes on my back. I had nothing else. And so I sort of had to find people on their way down that I could like negotiate with. And there's some okay towns with like, not the best gear on the way up, but I was never able to find like hike or climbing boots, like with crampons, until I was at base camp, and I basically just borrowed somebody's. I was like, they were so nice, but they were size 12 and a half, and I'm like a 10 and a half. So like water and ice and everything got inside my boot, and my like feet were probably like hella close to getting like frostbite. It was awful, but yeah, I crossed the ice fall after I got to base camp, and like that's the most dangerous part of Everest is like step 1, because it's this like glacier that you're hiking through, like, and you're going over like all that shit you see on like Discovery Channel. You're like going over bridges that are just ladders, and it's like 200-foot drop off underneath you or whatever, and like avalanches just happen all day because it's a fucking glacier, like it's always moving. So and you're in it, and like there's 2 times we were going in, and we go through it at night because it's like super cold and it moves less, so your chance of dying is less, and you just feel the mountain shake, and everyone's like brace for an avalanche, because you have no idea if that sound, the avalanche you're hearing, is on your mountain or one of like the 50 nearby mountains. So you're just like sitting there and bracing and hoping it's like the mountains.
You're by yourself, right? You went by yourself. You didn't go with anyone.
Yeah, just with me.
Yeah.
And I went with Sherpas, but
Right. Yeah, obviously. But I'm saying like you didn't have like a buddy with you that you knew.
No,
right.
Absolutely not. Okay. And so, yeah, you got through camp, or got to camp 1, and I didn't have oxygen either. That was like a roll of the dice that I took. I didn't take any altitude medication. I wanted to see if I could do it. I'm obviously like a pretty fit person. Like I try to stay fit, but that was like a roll of the dice too. No idea if I was going to react well or not to it, because like it can take down grown men, like that are in crazy good shape. But no oxygen was tough. I honestly, like I was trying to keep up with these like nighttime Sherpa supply runners, because I was like basically paid them to take me with them, because I didn't have like a team.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'll carry something for you guys, and then like I can go with you guys. And they went at a lightning fast pace. It takes people usually like 10 hours to get to the icefall, and we got to like the halfway point in like 2 hours. So it's just like, oh my God, I couldn't breathe. And like, most of them, signed up for? Yeah, most of them had like oxygen.
So what happens if you can't make it? Are they just gonna fucking leave you there and you die, or what?
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't even want to think about that scenario. There was a lot of times, especially during that little stint, that I was like, man, I am in way over my head. Like I mean, I train, I stay fit, but honestly, before Everest, it was like the highest mountain I've never like tried to climb or summit anything crazy. It was just like I'd done 14ers in Colorado and Washington, but I never like did a proper climb, So it was stupid, honestly.
I climbed Coco Head in Hawaii, and that was enough to tell me I'm never doing anything like that again.
And that's
Have you done that one?
Yeah.
That's like, and that took me like, I don't know, an hour to get to the top, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. And I'm just like, but I was like that. Fuck that. Yeah. Right? Like that was enough for me to be like, this is stupid, and I don't ever want to do this again. Right?
Yeah. I
can't even imagine.
The wildest part is like, I got to base camp. That was honestly like people were like struggling with that hike. I could have done like probably the whole thing in a couple of days. I love hiking, and like I like a little bit of cardio, especially if you got like nature all around you. But like, once you're at base camp, it's like 38% oxygen. And I don't remember the elevation, but I mean, top of Mount Everest is 30,000 feet. Like it's bonkers high. Like the highest mountain, like I think in Colorado is like 14 or 16,000 or something like that. Like it is doubly tall. Like it is just wild even being at that altitude. And honestly, my blood oxygen really never dropped below like 96%, which is amazing. But it would take you out of it. Like you'd be at 30% oxygen in the atmosphere, and you take like 2 steps. Honestly, you take 2 steps and you're winded. You're out of breath. And that's all you do. After camp 1, you just take like 5 steps. You kind of rest for a second. You take another 5 steps. Like, I mean, you get people with oxygen, so they're just like flying right past you. The oxygen tank. I remember I put someone's oxygen tank on at camp 2 and like did some burpees. I was like, oh my God, this is great. Like this is so easy. But yeah. That's wild.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
So you made it to the top. You lived. Obviously, you're here. Made it back down. Cool experience.
Amazing
best experience of your life.
7 people died while I was up there, which is sad. I think that's
7 people from your group.
No, it's like the highest concentration of like hikers I think that have died in like a 1-week period since like an avalanche or something. But it was like 2 guys. The most people that die on Everest in the current year is like people that kind of go off and do their own thing, like they're trying to climb a side that's not typically climbed, or they kind of go off on their own, and someone falls or whatever. But yeah, it's like the whole way, or like we're looking for bodies basically.
Did you see it was the green boots guy?
I didn't see anything crazy.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
though?
I do. Yeah, I didn't see any corpses. I didn't see any. There's supposed to be like a lot of trash because I guess they didn't take camps down properly last year, but I didn't see any of that either. So I bet there was a pretty big snowfall right before I got there. So beautiful though. I had this shot honestly from like the top of Camp 4. It is probably the best shot I've ever taken in my whole life. It's insanely beautiful, like wild. But
I'll have to check the Instagram and check it out.
Yeah, would recommend.
All right, so that leads to that whole story. No, that's cool. I wanted to hear it, man. To be honest, like that sounds fantastic. Something I would never do, but it sounds crazy awesome.
Yeah.
Like, did you document a lot of it?
Yeah. It's on the Instagram.
Hex says, if you could live anywhere in the world for free, where are you going to live?
I find myself I always go back to Tulum. I think Tulum's a good time. I think the infrastructure is probably not getting set up in a great way, but I do love Tulum. But that's probably mostly because it's close. I also really, really enjoy Bali. Bali's like this whole motorcycle island. Like there's legit roads in Bali that cars like are not legally allowed. They can't even fit. So like the whole city is engineered to like be a motorcycle place. So like I love that about Bali. It's also like great food, super cheap, beautiful. So maybe there. I don't know.
Okay. I haven't traveled near as much, but to me, one of the prettiest places I've ever been is San Diego. I thought San Diego was pretty fabulous.
Oh yeah.
So I would pick there. It's a very expensive place. Oh, yeah. So if it were free, that's where I would go.
Yeah. I mean, Hawaii probably too. Hawaii's really expensive.
Hawaii was pretty fantastic too. Hawaii was cramped though. Like
which one did you go to?
Honolulu, is that the name of the city? Yeah. It's the big touristy area. But there's a base. So you know where they had the
Oh, is it me, chat? I'm not dropping frames. Do I lose them? Not like this. I wonder if you sell a Spectrum. Are you still with me, chat? Big Hawaii. Trying to keep him out of the conversation. Oh, I think he's back.
No, I've been here. Can you not hear me still?
No, now you're coming back, kinda.
Huh. Oh. I didn't lose anything. I can still see the stream. I can still hear you. Weird. I'm gonna disconnect and rejoin.
Okay.
Well, that might screw the camera up. Come back.
You're just like super laggy for some reason.
I think it's your PC dying, bud.
You think?
Yeah.
How many close chat then?
No, I'm on 2 gig fiber. My internet's ridiculous.
Okay. It might be my PC, honestly. I can't really close anything else down though.
It's okay.
We can still hear you. Sorry.
That's all right. We'll do it. Yeah. We were on Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, where the ship was sunk, and that's the island. I don't know if that's the Honolulu. It was cool. It was pretty. Japanese temple was there. The city streets were pretty narrow. It was everything was kind of compact and cramped in. But the other, we have a couple more questions. They're not super crazy. The next one is: do you think PoE2 is going to destroy D4? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Answer is yes.
I think that like there's a whole crowd of people that probably still don't know like PoE exists. Hopefully, there's some like great publicity and like PoE2 can pop off. But yeah, there's like a whole demographic of console that we can't even like fathom that never tuned into Twitch in their whole life, and that's probably the primary population of D4. But as far as Twitch goes, and that whole crowd of like I think hardcore players, 100% gonna dominate.
That's really it.
Oh, okay.
You got no new lady friends?
We don't need that.
What's the weirdest thing that your wife / girlfriend does?
I don't even know I understand the question.
It's the weird thing. Do they have a weird quirk that you're just kind of like, huh? I'm trying to think if my wife
is that what one of our questions?
Yeah, that was one. I was gonna skip it because I didn't know if you had a significant other, so it was more directed at me. If you didn't.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to answer it for you?
Yeah, go for it.
I wouldn't say it's a weird quirk, but man, you guys fucking roast each other so hard.
Yeah, we do.
We
do roast each other hard. My wife, when she starts laughing, she can't fucking speak. Like you've witnessed it. Yeah. Like when she loses her shit, she loses her ability to act functionally communicate. Yeah, it's just gone. Like she can't. She just. But it's infectious. Like she'll start laughing so hard she can't talk, and then you're laughing and you can't and you're just like, what are you laughing at? Like you look like, what are you laughing at? But you're laughing too, right? So it's crazy.
That's great.
All right, man. I think we've killed your streaming PC.
Yeah, I think you're right.
With that, we will we'll call it an episode.
Hell yeah, brother.
You can follow me on the Twitters at ThaPChild. I stream twice a year. Twitch.tv/ThaPChild. And join the Discord. You can get your questions asked for the new meta for the future episode we'll do in 10 months.
We'll give away the copy after this, guy, so stay tuned. But thanks for hanging out for the podcast. PChild, good to see you.
Yeah, you too, man.